What's up, K-Sap? Yeah. James Ford, that's me. Let me talk to him. Let's get it.
I'm simply ball dropping. Simply ball dropping. Chopping up these topics, man. I'm simply ball dropping. Driving coast to coast, making moves, ain't stopping. Driving coast to coast, making moves, ain't stopping. Nah.
Hey, let me put you on game. These other podcasts out here talking that shit, but ain't repping the same. This my bro K-Sap, chopping up topics for your optics. From politics to your top picks. Tune in, you gotta watch this. Exclusive material for your radio stereo. Pump it high definition. Stop what you doing and listen. We smashing all competition. You better jump on this wave. Somebody pass me a mic. Man, I got something to say.
And now, your host of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast, the man behind the mic, K-Sap.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Marriage Chronicles. I'm your host, and my co-host, Miss Kanisha Sappington, riding shotgun with me again tonight. And this is another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Marriage Chronicles, and we got two couples, well, one couple in the studio. We got Rod and Anna, and normally on the Simply Ball Dropping podcast, normally I do the introductions. But I'm going to let them introduce themselves. First, we're going to start off with Anna. Give a good introduction. Tell them what you do and what you're about.
All right. Thank y'all so much for having us. I love to talk about us, so I'm in my element. My name is Anna. I am a life coach, a mother, a partner, and y'all's neighbor. So thanks for having us.
Not a problem. Anytime. And also the man to the right of me, we got Mr. Rod. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us once again. It's a delight to be on Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Been on here before. This first time, obviously, on the Marriage Chronicles. And the last. I think you can say that, right?
Say anything you want.
So we are the neighbors, and I am Anna's partner, father with our 4-year-old child, and let's grow.
All right, man. And Rod, like I said, you've been on the podcast before. We're talking sports. Tell the people a little bit about your sports background.
Well, I am an old football player from back in the day. Wound up playing some college football at the University of Colorado a long time ago. And I'm also a high school football coach. So I have a little bit of background just about sports.
Okay, great, man. I just want to let the people know that, I just don't get just normal people on the show. We get some people that used to do some things. And I've had Anna on the show before.
Yeah.
She's talked about her, her life-changing event where she was in the school and she changed over to be a life coach. And we did a podcast on that. So for people that hasn't listened to it, it's on, every platform. You can just look up Simply Ball Dropping and you can take a listen to that. When we did the podcast, we had great reviews and things like that. Had a lot of people tuned in. So, we're going to get it started off. This is Rod and Anna. This is their love story. We're going to start it off. I mean, I don't want to put them on the hot seat. So, the people that's looking and listening, if y'all want to put them on the hot seat, y'all can put them on the hot seat. But I'm going to start off with you, Rod. Where did you first meet Anna at?
Well, the first time I met her was with a good friend of mine, and we were all going out, and he called me over to his apartment to come hang out with him. We're talking a long time ago. And so I get there, and at this time I didn't know her. So it's Anna, it's her friend, Kelly, I don't even know the rest of the people. And the night, back in my day, you used to do the pre-drinking. So you get the pre-drinking before you get to the club
The
or
pre-
the
the
bar.
pre-turn up.
Yeah, you got to do that. And so we did that a lot. And when I say a lot, we did the pre-kicking it before we went out. And so
Not big kicking.
not big kicking. No,
Pre-game,
no,
pre-game.
Pre-kicking.
Pre-kicking. So
Okay.
we did that and we went out. And by the end of the night, I kind of noticed her noticing me.
Oh,
So
she's shaking her head.
I mean, she can do that all she wants. I'm just telling my side. This is my story. You asked me for my story,
Okay,
right?
okay, I got you.
Okay,
I
okay.
got you.
So I saw her looking at me, noticing me. So I went ahead and shot my shot, and because that's what shooters do.
But hold on, but you saw her looking at you,
Yeah,
but you shot your shot.
yeah. I mean, I wasn't gonna. She didn't need to wait for a rebound. Wait for me to try to pass the ball or shoot. I might as well just go ahead and take my shot. But in saying that, she did block my shot. So that was the first interaction that me and her had that she don't even remember.
Oh.
Yeah. So, that's kind of what way things happen.
So what you mean she didn't remember? Like,
She didn't remember us having that interaction.
I don't remember
Not-
his version of the story. I think that might be the problem.
Not as she was, intoxicated.
Wait, who was?
I said you wasn't.
Oh,
I said,
okay.
Yes. So that was the first interaction we had, and that's what you wanted me to talk about, correct? Yeah.
so where did all this take place at?
This was somewhere down. This was in Addison back in the day, and then it went to a party or a bar down in Lower Green.
Do you remember the year?
That might have been. Let's see. That might have been 16, maybe 15, maybe 15.
Uh-oh. We're gonna give Anna a chance.
Okay, sorry. I'll be quiet.
No. So
It's hard.
so you don't remember the year.
No, I have a problem remembering numbers,
You
birthdays.
You asked the wrong person first.
Right.
So-
I'm with you.
So the thing about it is, you said she wasn't intoxicated. Was you intoxicated?
Oh, I was, but I still
So
remember
you
the
started
interaction.
with the wrong person is what I'm
You see what
trying
I'm
to
saying? I still remember the interaction.
So you remember the interaction?
Yeah,
Because I mean, Anna's over there shaking her head a lot, so I'm gonna have to.
I mean that's fine.
I'm gonna have
People do that.
I mean, we had 2 meetings, so I mean, we could talk about both of them separately.
Okay, well, we're gonna turn it over to Anna, and we're gonna get her recollection on how y'all really met and her side of the story.
So the first time we met was about 2012, and we have mutual friends. My best friend is married to a guy that he went to school with, a close friend of his. So we were all out kind of together, but not really. At the end of the night, yes, the pregame had probably caught up to the postgame for him. So he was kind of sitting by himself at this table, and it was raining and cold. So I kind of noticed this highly intoxicated man sitting outside. He might have caught me noticing that.
See, now
And
I'm not this not no charity situation that she trying to
no,
trying to make it
no
seem like a charity.
No, but that's
I'm
what
over
I
there
did
in the
notice.
cold. I'm a grown ass man. I can be in the cold in the rain.
But that's what I
Bull.
noticed.
Okay.
And so my friend Kelly, I don't know why we sat down at your table, and
We know why.
he was highly intoxicated, and he was like trying to holler, but I was like, this brother's drunk. Like, I'm ready to go home. It's cold. My friend's over there arguing with her man. Like, I'm ready to go home. And then his phone rang, and it was a Beyonce ringtone. I was like, nope, done.
Back then.
I don't know why that did it for me.
So you think that would have been like was it a girl calling, or just because he had to be?
What was the song?
I don't remember what the song was, but I mean, he and I love Beyonce. I don't know why that bothered me, but on top of him being drunk, trying to holler, then the Beyonce kicked in, and I was like, maybe that's his girl's ringtone. Like, now let me just step back. So that was like 2012. Then we re-met at the end of 2015.
So hold up. So back in 2012, when y'all met each other at this particular place, did you have somebody? Was you dating at the time? You didn't have nobody?
I was super duper single.
Was you single at the time, right?
2012?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So the ringtone that she's rectifying to.
Oh, that was during the era when ringtones was big.
But why Beyonce?
I love Beyonce. I think it was one of the. It might have been one of. It was definitely one of my favorite songs of hers. So I just put, and it was free. You know, everything you had to pay for. I wasn't paying for no.
So was that a female calling you, or
no? That was my ringtone.
He wouldn't remember.
Oh, that was a ringtone for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now that's fast forward from 2012, and you said 2017, but you're saying
our child was born in 16. So
that's what I'm saying. I'm not giving up.
Yeah, he's not. No.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let Anna answer this one.
I said 15. I said it was 2015.
I think you said 2017.
I might have. I'm sorry.
So now, Anna, that's fast forward from 2012. Once y'all had your first meeting.
Okay,
right?
That's my favorite story to tell.
Okay, so now go ahead and pick it off from there.
But before we do that, I want everyone to know I still was the same guy that she's about to tell the story.
That's fine.
So the outlook of what you see was the same. So I don't know how it just went from.
We haven't even gotten to the story.
I know. I just want the listeners to know
okay.
that it wasn't like we got anything
so
done.
So he's saying I wasted 3 years of my life.
So you putting your state down early.
Yeah.
They won't get it misconstrued.
Okay. Yeah, like there was no difference. I still looked the same old genuine, same OG.
Okay. Oh.
I beg to differ.
Oh,
okay. So fast forward 2015.
Yes.
It's December 19th, 2015.
Got a story to tell.
My best friend's birthday is the 21st. And so there's this charity, Christmas charity party at Aloft downtown. Okay. So I live in Killeen, Central Texas. Drive all the way up at the end of my workday. And my besties and I get dressed and we go to this party. And we know the guy that threw the party. And he said, Jack, the friend of ours that is married to my best friend, some of his homeboys are going to be coming. Should I put their VIP table next to y'all's? And me and my friend are there super duper single.
Yeah, that was a big kick.
So we were like, yeah, put some brothers next to us. That's fine. So she and I are sitting there getting saucy. There's nobody here at this party. The door opens, I don't know if it was an electric door or not, but it just opened by itself. And in comes this brother in this gray sweater. And he floated in on a cloud, and his eyes his eyes locked with mine, and he walked straight to me and sat down next to me. He came in with 15 dudes, and while he's walking up, I'm asking my friend, I was like, "Wait, I know him. I think we met him." She's like, "Yeah, that was Rod. Remember, he was drunk and he had a Beyonce ringtone." I was like, "Okay."
Oh wow!
So he sits down and says, "Hi, my name." I was like, "I know you're Rod. I met you already. We've already met." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And we talked the whole night. Dance, talk. But let's rewind.
Same guy.
So
you just didn't remember. You didn't remember.
He didn't remember. That's the funny part of this story. He didn't remember my name. So before the guys get here, my friend and I are like, let's make this interesting. You get a guy to kiss you, I'll buy you lunch. She was like, okay, deal. Because we're just sitting there bored.
So y'all playing something like The Wood.
Yeah. So in floats Rod, drunk guy with the Beyonce ringtone. He sits down and starts talking, and I mean, it's like he came to meet me. It was the strangest thing how he just walked straight over to me. Sat down. My name's Rod. Yeah, I know that already. So we're talking, and he's trying to show me something in his phone, and a picture pops up of this gorgeous woman, face beat, hair done. I was like, I don't need to see your girl. He's like, that is my mom. I was like, okay, that ain't your mom. It was his mom. Mm-hmm. So we talk all night. We're dancing, doing our thing, and he's shooting his shot again. I was like, we haven't even kissed. It's like okay, So we kiss. I win the bet. My friend has to buy me lunch. Okay.
So the sole purpose of that whole situation right now, you're hearing, is the bet.
You are a bet.
Yes.
Oh, like I said, they was playing the Wood game on you.
Exactly.
No, he was the brother in the gray sweater that floated in on the cloud. And so we're sitting there talking, and I was like, well, let me just put my number in your phone. So I put my number in his phone. Lights are up. They flashing lights trying to make us leave, and we still having our little, we're the only one in the room moment. We leave, and it's maybe 2 or 3 in the morning, and my best friend texts me, and she was like, okay, Rod just called Jack asking him what your name was because he never got your name, and he can't find your number in his phone. Because I never said my name. He said his name was Rod, and I was like, yeah, I know that already, and we just started talking.
You never told him your name?
No, because I told him we met already.
Oh, okay.
So in my mind, he knew me because he shot his shot and everything.
Okay.
So he didn't know who I was, but my number was in his phone. So we had to call his homeboy to find out what was that girl's name that I was just making out with in the middle of the party. So so he calls me at like 3 a.m. to make sure I made it home, and he made it home, and yeah, we've been together
ever since. Okay, so when y'all reconnected,
yes,
when he walked through the door, did you instantly remember who that person was?
No, I knew that I knew him, but I didn't remember how I knew him. And my friend Kelly remembers everybody. She's like Inspector Gadget. So I was like, okay, how do I know him? Tell me, like, remind me how we know him. So she reminded me.
So taking it back to that day from the story that she said.
Right.
We fast forward from 2012 to 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So when you walked through that door and you went over there to the young lady.
Yes.
Did you realize who she was?
I did not, because I, once again, pre-kick it. And it was big kicking, because my one of my best friends just received, well, no, he just got his master's degree.
Okay.
So we were out celebrating for that, because we wasn't really gonna go out. Something happened, and everybody kind of canceled, bailed out. And I say everybody, just the people we were friends with, kind of bailed out. And so we was like, man, another friend of his was like, hey, on the low, text me on the side like 2 weeks leading up to it, was like, hey man, we're gonna do something. Feed all these fools. I was like, well, I'm good. Mm-hmm. So he hit me up. He's like, all right, we got his homeboy that he knew, which is the same person that we kind of all know together. He said, hey, he having this, I don't want to call it a club, but he having a celebration.
Okay.
And we all gonna go. It's all gray with
all great party.
It was a great party. Yeah.
Okay.
I said, man, I'm in. You just tell me where we got to meet up prior, and then we in.
So it was an all great party. How did you end up there? Was you invited to
Yes,
something?
because my friend, it was her birthday, and they all live up in Dallas. I'm the only one down there, and he was in Mount Pleasant at the time. So she said, come up to this party. She didn't tell me it was a great party. So we spent hours in the mall, and I just ended up wearing some gray shoes.
So it seemed like after 2012, I guess it almost seemed destined y'all was going to run into each other again.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it was, but
because we know all the same people, but never met each other. It's the strangest thing.
But I want the listeners to understand. I still walked in the same way in 12 and in 15.
I wish we had his mama here, because she'll tell you he wasn't the same man.
No. See, that's not what I said. I said I still walked the same in 2012.
Well, maybe that was the difference, because he wasn't walking the first time.
That's a lie.
So
he was sitting
when you walked in, what made you gravitate to go sit beside her?
Well, they were sitting by our table.
Proximity.
But you had y'all's own table, right?
Yeah, which was right next to them. But it just so happened the way that we're going, it's just right there.
But you ended up sitting right next to
Oh, yeah. I made sure I did that.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
So when you walked through and you saw this person, you had no recollection that this was the same person in 2012?
No. Because her hair was different.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I'm a natural between that.
Okay. So when you first laid eyes on her, we ain't even going to talk about 2012.
Yeah, that's fine.
When you first laid eyes on her in 2015 at this particular gray party, big kicking it event, what was your first impressions?
I said, honestly, I said, that's a beautiful woman. I have to at least acknowledge her, say my name, introduce myself, and let's see what happens. I'm a shooter sometimes. Oh. But remember, she was ready to rebound. Okay. So I had to go ahead and shoot.
Okay. So what was your first initial words to her? Like, what did you say?
I just said, hello. How you? I said, matter of fact, I probably said, hey, how you doing? What y'all doing here? Y'all know such and such. And then it got to, yeah, we know. And, oh, okay, well, what's your name? Which she did not say. And so it just went from there.
So that was a break the ice move.
Which one? No, I wouldn't call it a move.
Like, what are you doing here? That was a break the ice.
It's not like that typical movie scene, like, hey, what you doing here? It wasn't like that. It wasn't as smooth as I guess a movie would be, but it was more organic than a movie.
Like I asked all the guys, did you have a plan?
No, there was no plan. I never had plans. I'm off the hip.
So, I mean, I understand you say you're off the hip, but it had to be some, like, in your mind, like, okay, you shooting your shot. It had to be something that, you gravitated to her. You had to have a plan, like, okay, what's my next step?
No, there wasn't one. If she would have turned me down, she would have turned me down. There's no.
That's him. I believe that.
You believe that?
I believe that. He doesn't make plans.
Okay.
That's just me. Now, she, like I said, she would turn me down. She would turn me down. My night was going to continue.
Ooh.
And I mean that in a good way. I mean, it still would have continued because it was a celebration. The
Yeah,
celebration wasn't for me to meet her. That was a bonus of me meeting her. And then had she turned me down, I'm still in the mode of celebration.
Was Beyonce still on the ringtone?
No, because that it transitioned to not having that no more.
2015, you know.
To putting your phone on silent.
Yeah.
So Anna, let's ask you.
Yes, sir.
This guy comes in all gray.
Floating on a cloud.
So what was your first impressions when he came over and sat by you and you said this is the same person from 2012? What was your first one?
I was like, he is gorgeous. He just had a genuine smile, a genuineness about him. So when he came and sat down and was talking to me, he was like telling me.
I'll call you back.
Sorry, I think our daughter just called him.
Yeah, that's okay.
Babe, hey up, we can hear it. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so he came in and sat down and just started, just like he said, it was pretty organic. He just started a conversation, and I don't know, the voice and the shoulders and the sweater and the clouds. It was just
had you.
I got caught up. I just got caught all the way up.
You got caught up?
I did. But like I said, I was super, super single. So I wasn't looking like I need to find my husband tonight. It was just, there he came.
So, okay, that's interesting. So let's go back to this bet.
Yeah.
So somebody placed a bet on you.
And I got free hibachi lunch. Thanks.
Actually, it was on you.
No.
You was a part of the plan. You was a part of the bet.
I was a part of the bet in theory.
Okay.
But I wasn't the initial bet.
I know. I understand that.
Yeah.
They was betting on you.
On a kiss.
Well, no, they was betting on the kiss.
So
somebody had to win, I guess.
Okay. So when that kiss happened, how did you dive in for the kiss? Like, what? I understand that you said that we haven't kissed yet. So how did that transpire?
So I think he was probably trying to shoot another shot, and he'll deny it. But he was like, it's cold. I just want to cuddle. I was like, well, we haven't even kissed yet, because I was like, I still gotta win this bet. I mean, he's fine. I'm talking to him. So we're like kissing in the middle of the dance floor, and my best friend is standing there like, what is happening? Because that's not me.
Right.
And then my other friend's like, did I win the bet? Because she found some random guy to kiss. I was like, oh no, baby, I won.
So the bet, what was the bet? Like,
I got a hibachi lunch. She bought me hibachi a couple days later.
Okay. So after the kiss, the night goes on. Where did y'all go from there?
So, like I said, he called me once he figured out who I was and found my number. The next morning when he woke up early, he called me again. Then my family had a trip planned to Colorado. And I don't know if y'all remember 2015 in Dallas at that time, that December. But we go to Colorado, tornadoes hit Dallas, and Winter Storm Goliath hits Colorado where we are.
Okay.
So he and I have an agreement that we're going to have our first date when I come back. And flights are canceled. We're stranded. And I'm like, I got to get home. I got a date with the hot guy in the gray sweater. Like, I got to get back. So literally it's like planes, trains, and automobiles for me getting home. Our flight lands in Tulsa or Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
And say, we're done. We're not taking you anywhere. So me and my brother, who are on this family trip, Tulsa, we rush to the counter at the rental car. We get the last car, which is like a micro mini whatever. Some random girl on the plane was like, I'm going to Dallas too. Can I ride with y'all? Sure. We each take a shift driving home in this blizzard because I got to get to this date. And Mackenzie was the girl. Man, I'll never forget her. We drop her off at some Starbucks. I go home and take like a 3-hour nap at my brother's house. And we have our first date that night.
So was you excited for the date?
I was so excited because you know what? The whole time I was gone on this family trip, he talked to me. He texted me. We sent each other silly pictures and stuff. And it was literally, we literally just met like 3 days before.
Where did y'all go on your date?
Okay, so we meet at, what mall was that? Redbird Mall. And he was like, just leave your car here. You can ride with me. And I'm like, I really did just meet him. But we pull up and we're driving the exact same cars at the time. Mine's black and his is gray. Wow. We had the same cars. I was like, is he in his mom's? This can't be his car. So he scoops me up like in a movie when he sees me and hugs me and my feet are off the ground. And I'd seen him on the 19th. And this is now the 28th.
Mm.
Yes. And so I felt really comfortable with him. So we
Yeah.
went to the outlet mall and did a little shopping because he felt like I needed a different shoe, or he wanted to introduce me to a different shoe game. And I was trying to,
Okay.
anyway, so we did the outlet mall. Then we went to eat at Mi Cocina, had a few mambo taxis.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it.
And my best friend said, we're going to play some games back at the house. Y'all should come. And they lived close by. So we went to my best friend's house and played some games and drank a little bit more. And I was like, we can't drive after all this drinking. We should just stay here. And 37 weeks later, Chandler.
So that's interesting. So it seems like, I'm not gonna use the word, but it seems like you was the aggressor.
I think I was more aggressive than he was because I think he's really laid back. He takes life as it comes and isn't really moved by things in life. And I want to make things happen.
Okay.
And so I might have been a little bit more. Apparently I was, because he was like, I was fine to drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I thought we didn't need to drive. And so we didn't.
Right.
So it seems like you said you didn't have a plan. It seems like you had a game plan.
I don't think I had a plan, but it was.
You saw him and you was thinking about that gray sweater.
Yeah.
It was in the cloud. It was the gray sweater in the cloud.
Yeah.
So y'all, the next day I'm supposed to be going back to Killeen because I got a repair guy coming to my house. And he said, well, you know what? I could ride with you and we could talk. And so you can decide whether or not you want to continue anything with me. And I was like,
You said that to her?
he did. Like he offered it up. I didn't invite some guy to my house. Like we met twice at this point. And well, yeah. And really met. But so we drove home to my house and talked about happy stuff, sad stuff, deep stuff. We talked about the worst things that had ever happened to us.
Oh, y'all was in there.
In this 3-hour car ride. Went to my house, the repair guy came, drove back up the next day for New Year's. It was close to New Year's at that time. Seriously, it's been like, yeah.
So at this time, I don't know if she's told you this before. Is this the first time that you're hearing this, the way it all went down?
No, she tells the story quite often.
Okay, she tells the story quite often.
It's her
So
favorite story.
at that time, she's displaying all this to you. How are you feeling as a man? Do you think that, okay, I probably met somebody that I could, settle down with?
Man, I want to say you don't control who you gonna meet and fall in love with, or your spouse, because that's not, that's one of those things that it just happens. And I think timing is one of those things that it happened, and timing was on both our sides, because I think looking back on everything that has transpired, I feel like that she was needed and I was needed for her because of things that happened in both our lives, more so on my end, and then things have kind of developed on her side. But it's kind of one of those things that it's a puzzle, and that puzzle it was just kind of scattered, and we started moving pieces, and then things was, pieces were steady falling off the table. So now she was there to help me put puzzle pieces back up there. So it's probably one of those things.
Okay. And you mentioned that you was in Killeen.
Yes.
So you lived in Killeen.
I did.
And at the time, where was you living at?
I was in East Texas. So I was 2 hours away from Dallas at the time.
We were 4 hours away from each other.
So how did that work? Like the distance?
Right, the back and forth.
So I immediately felt a very strong connection to him. Like I was like, this is my man. I know we had like 2 dates and whatever.
We go together.
Yeah, we go together. So we talked on the phone, text, like we made it work. On the weekends we would meet up with each other, but we had a lot at stake very early on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But if his buddy Jack tells a story about the night that we met, you remember what Jack said that you said to him?
It's been years now.
So my best friend's husband says that while I was up doing something, he told him, I'm gonna marry her.
Oh,
okay. That's you pulled one of my numbers.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know why he leaves that out of the story every time, but I got witnesses.
You got to give it all, man. You got to give everybody everything. This is
Well, I wasn't trying to hold it out. I just didn't. It didn't dawn on me that that's what she was talking about.
But sometimes it takes a woman to get it out of you.
There's no doubt.
When you sit down in a setting like this, they'll get it out of you.
I mean, I'm all for it.
Yeah. So all this time that everything is, it seemed like y'all move pretty quick.
Yeah.
So when, you know, she's displaying her feelings to you, at that time, like, could you say to yourself, like, okay, this is the one for me. This is where it stops.
Yes and no, because you can't put somebody in that box that you're not sure that wants to be in that box. And I'm not.
Well, it seems
putting that
like
on
she
her.
wanted to be in that box.
She may have, but she didn't. That doesn't mean that was fully communicated with me.
Okay.
So you can't automatically lock somebody into something like that because you don't know. And I'm a type of person that needs to be natural. To me, if we weren't going to work, it wasn't going to work, and it still would have been okay.
Okay.
But if it did, then we're at where we're at.
But if it didn't work from the, you know, it's moving fast,
Mm-hmm.
would that kind of hurt you? Would be like a little setback? Like, well,
I don't think so, because there was different things going on.
It was fast.
yeah.
It was. I don't think we would have been like, I don't think we would have been hurt. It would have been like, oh man, I thought that was something.
So did you guys have an actual conversation about being together, or did you just start doing things together and then you were just like, all right.
So it was New Year's Eve when I said, okay, what we do, you can't do it. You can't do with other people. And he was like, all right, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So it seemed like Anna she was stating her claim. She
put it down.
She put it down.
I think he was leaving it to me to steer where we were going to go. If
Well,
it was going to be a fling, it was going to be a fling.
Right.
But she didn't want it. She didn't want it to be a fling. From what I'm hearing.
I mean, it sounds like it. Yeah. I mean, I think she just really was intrigued with that gray sweater.
Whoa, and the cloud. Don't forget the cloud.
The cloud.
But I mean, the way it seems like, you know, she knew what she wanted, right?
Yeah.
So same question I asked Rod. So at that time, did you say to yourself, okay, this could be the one?
I thought there was something different about this guy. There was something genuine and real about him. And he came at me real.
Okay.
And it didn't ever feel like game. So I really wanted to see where it was going. I wasn't like, this is my husband. I wanted to see where it was going in a clean, pure thing. So if he's dealing with other people, if I'm dealing with other people, then we can't really see where this is going.
Right. So
we were both very single for a long time and probably had lots of attachments or whatever that needed to be clipped off and let go.
So when all this, you know, transpired, when did y'all able to sit down and come to agreement and put a label on what y'all was going to be?
So,
boyfriend and girlfriend or partners or what?
So I guess the first school holiday might have been like the second week in January. Is that President's Day or something like that? He said, okay, I'll come see you. And so again, we met the 19th. Our first date was the 27th or the 28th, and this is of December. And now it's like the second week in January. So it's been like maybe 2.5 weeks.
Right.
And so he comes down and he asked me, I don't know if you remember asking me this. He's like, have you thought about telling me that you love me? And I said, yeah, I have thought about it, and left it at that. And so then the day that he was getting ready to leave, I told him I loved him. And he said, and he did this, I'll never forget. He did this like this exhale, this like, oh, good. And said, I love you too. And we kissed, and he drove.
How does that make you feel when you hear the story the way she's telling it? How does that make you feel?
You talking about like in a good way, butterflies?
Yeah, like right now, like right now to this day, hearing that story the way she's, you know, putting it out there and people are listening, and and you're sitting here and she's giving it to everybody. How does that make you feel?
Anytime a woman can tell a man that she loves him and then refocus on the actual small details, it should make you feel good. It makes me feel good. Yeah. But it should make you feel good as a man that you have touched a woman that you feel that if you ask that question, you're like, okay, she sees me as who I am. She don't see the game. She sees exactly who I am as a person.
So how And when y'all was dating, well, I'm not even gonna say this dating because y'all moved so fast.
They got
So
together.
yeah. So how long was y'all together before the words "I love you" transpired?
It was like what, 2 weeks,
Yeah,
2 or
that's
3.
what,
That
2
was like
weeks?
it was like the second week in January, and we met.
Yeah.
but I think the one thing I will say, we had before Corona, we had that Corona date message, phone call, FaceTime. We had that whole deal down when she was in Colorado because that's all we could do. And so I don't even know the app, but we used an app and we
Yeah.
just shared videos of each other. And that was if that was it, that was all we could do. So it wasn't a rush because we did like a week of that,
Of deep stuff.
of just talking. And I think that's, if anything, I would tell anybody. I mean, once you talk, I'm good.
So the time apart that y'all was doing all this, FaceTime and stuff like that, not being physically beside her, how was that making you feel at the time?
Say it one more time.
Like the FaceTime stuff that y'all was doing, y'all just because distance, right? And
Yeah.
with y'all phone calls and stuff like that, but not physically being there with her. How did that make you feel?
It was a growing process. I didn't feel, I can't say whole because, like I said, there was different things happening that I didn't know I'm not going to say people, but with my family that I just didn't know. And it's nothing bad with my family, but there was just things that I didn't know that probably had I did know, me and her, I don't know if we would be at where we're at right now. Because things in life, like I said, things in life always have their own way of finding you and connecting you with people, or they don't. And had I known that, then I would have backed out because I would have been focused on what I
Family
did.
was
Yes.
Okay. That sounds fair. So at this time, I'm gonna ask you the same way I asked Rod.
Mhm.
So how does that make you feel for him to convey to you some of the stuff that 2012, 2015, to hear it over from him now? Because you're blushing. How does that make you feel?
I blush. This man makes me blush still. I don't know. It's just him and his soul and his spirit and the man that he is. Neither one of us are perfect, but I feel like we're perfect for each other. So when I hear him speak about us and speak about me and his thoughts at the time, it's just affirming.
Okay. And now, how long have y'all been dating right now?
4 years.
2015. I count the day that he floated in on the cloud.
Yeah.
So we don't know what our anniversary is. We could count the first meeting, the first real meeting. We could count. No, we can't count the first meeting. The first date. We count the first date because that was also a very pivotal moment for our family. Because we do have a first date baby.
Yeah.
And we knew really quickly.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, that was happening.
Right.
So yeah, that's a.
I have to switch some things up.
Yeah.
You bringing that up?
Yeah. So the whole time that y'all dating, the quick movement, you're in a bet. You win the bet on the kiss.
I don't know how this bet is actually.
You said something in there. You said 37 weeks later, you end up with a child. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna let you start it out.
Okay.
Then 37 weeks later, how did that all transpire?
As far as
you gotta be more specific.
Well, she said 37 weeks later, y'all end up with a child.
Right.
So she wins a bet on the kiss.
I got you.
So after that kiss, it must have led to something.
Yes. And so, this is the one part of the story that's kind of one of those, I ain't gonna say you skipped the chapter, but when you look at that book and you go, oh, this is part of you looking at the index, you're like, wait a minute, they what? And so it wasn't something that I was really, that the night was not my intent because I didn't look at her that was the confirmation I needed for us. And so it was moving, obviously.
So hold on, stop. So this happened the same night of the kiss?
No.
Okay.
This happened.
This
happened-
snowstorm and
They went to the
Okay,
friend's house.
okay.
friend's
So
house. Mhm.
the initial idea for me was to get her on a date and let me see if we are still vibing like we were from the night that we met at the club.
Okay.
And we meet and we are. But I didn't want it to not end, but I didn't want it to take a hard left or right because I didn't want her to assume that this was the idea that I was trying to get to from the night that I met her at the club.
Okay.
So I was trying to make sure that that wasn't the process. However, things happen. You get to flowing, talk is good, laughter is good. You get to know each other, and then it happens naturally because there wasn't an idea. Now that's on my end. Because the reason why I say it wasn't on my end is because I wasn't living here. So there was no place for me to be like, hey, let's just go and get back to my house. We can still drink and chit chat and ha ha ha.
Okay.
So it wasn't on my mind. It couldn't have been because I had there was no plan. There's no place to go. So I already knew that once nightfall hit, it was closer to being ending than it was anything.
Interesting.
I mean, that's true. But once again, I don't have a plan. I didn't go and make sure I had a room. So if this situation did happen and I was on went on top, I'm not like that. Well, I'm not that type of guy anyway. So for me, it was just, let's get this meeting in. Let's have our laughter. Let's see if we're vibing and let's see where it takes us from this. And then that didn't happen. We went a step further. So, but it was still that day, the day we met through the night was still a good time.
And y'all, that trip back from Colorado in the snow, he stayed on the phone with me the whole time. He stayed up the entire night, making sure I got home safely. And yeah,
that's sweet.
So I'm gonna ask you the same question when I asked him. So the night that all this transpired, it was at the friend's place, right?
Yes.
After a night of drinking and games. And
yes.
having fun and.
Well, it started off. Here's what I'm gonna say.
You were right, Corinne. You're right.
It started off like this. I got to go to the mall. The mall is one of the easiest places to talk to someone because you don't have to worry about being quiet. You can be as loud as you want. You can laugh. You can talk. We got to get in the car. We can talk there. And then it progresses to, hey, let's go to another mall because I got everything I need to do so fast. I was like, shit. Once again, I don't plan. I'm like, shit, I need to have another. I don't want this shit to end this fast. I mean, I could have, I guess, but in my mind, I was
so
like,
you're just thinking of stuff to do.
Yeah. So the next thing for me, I was like, well, I haven't been to the outlet, which I haven't. I haven't been to the outlet mall since, I don't know, probably like 2 years.
We both lived away from any
Yeah.
kind of shopping.
So I don't do that. And I wouldn't, and I don't really do shopping. If I go somewhere, when I say go somewhere, if I'm going to go to the mall, I'm going to 3, maybe 4 stores, and then I'm out. I ain't walking around.
How many stores you go to this time?
We went to 1 in the mall, and then we went to 2 at the outlet.
Because I don't shop either. I don't like shopping.
That's what I'm saying. So,
I still got the shoes
the entire time, the time is just crunching on me, and I'm like, damn, I'm running out of shit. If I want this date, stuff. Yeah, if I want this, but the date, not the stuff. If I want this date, so I can really get to talk to her. If I want this not to end, I need to think of things as they're coming up. Because as soon as the outlet was over, I was like, well, shit, what you want to do? She was like, I don't know. I was like,
well, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, like you say, your terminology is not a plan.
Yeah.
But if I was in that situation, that's almost like I got a plan because I don't want this time to end. I got to think quick. Hey, let's go to this spot right here.
But see, that makes me different than you. I just don't like doing that. I want her to feel like, oh, so he's really off the cuff. Because, a lot of women, they get all these, they go on a date and they meet somebody and he's all, well, I got this, I got that. No. I want you to feel relaxed.
It was organic, y'all.
I don't want her to feel rushed.
Yeah.
Because remember, she's just coming back from.
No, I understand what
you're saying.
I'm
just saying she's just coming back. So I want her to feel like she don't have to really stress about making a plan or me having a plan. Like let's just ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just from my old soul people that I've been with. Like when I say my family members and people that just ride.
Right,
Y'all can just ride because we wasn't drinking during this entire time.
Oh yeah, y'all
you know,
just out
so we were
spending
just
time.
out. Yeah.
Spending
And he
time.
held my hand the whole time and opened doors and pulled
I'm a gentleman.
chairs. And I mean,
So you was a big gentleman.
I'm always that. I was
Big
raised
kicking it, big
I like
gentleman, all that.
all
I like it.
BGK.
So at this time, all this is transpiring.
Yeah,
He holding your hand.
Mhm.
And he loves spending time with you. He's coming out. Okay, we can't get nothing here. We'll go to here. At the whole time, what was going through your mind? How was you feeling?
I was assessing everything he said and did. I was like, okay, I gotta find out where he's a douche somewhere. He's gotta be a fuckboy some type of way. I gotta figure this out. So the hugs twirl in the parking lot. I was like, maybe that's game.
Yeah.
But his car wasn't like immaculately clean. So I was like, okay, he's not trying to put on a show for it. Wasn't trashy, but it wasn't like he was
Right.
trying to put on a show
It was
for me.
organic. Like
It
you
was.
said.
It was. I mean, we went and bought some Vans. Like it was just very PG. It was very
Matching Vans.
No, I didn't have a pair of Vans.
No,
so
she
he
didn't
told
own
me
them.
he's
Okay.
like, you gotta, yeah. So I bought some. They're roses. They're cute. I still have them. So it was like, let's go to the mall. I need to do something. You needed a suit or something?
I had to get up a suit reham.
Yes. So we did the suit thing, and then we went to the outlet mall, and then we went to eat, and then our friends met us at the restaurant, and he got real quiet, and I was like, oh yeah, here it is. He's gonna show me, why I don't need to be with him. And 5 years later, he just gets quiet when it's me and him and a whole bunch of other people. I become the mouthpiece, I guess. And he just gets quiet. He's an observant person. He sits back and takes things in.
Not many words.
Yes.
Just kind of sit back.
He talks when it improves conversation. That's it.
Right.
And so, but I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, okay, let's go back, do game night, loosen up. Found out we're both pretty competitive when it comes to game night, and had a few more drinks. And my best friend's like, y'all can't leave. Y'all can't drive. And I didn't realize he was like, I'm fine to drive, but he didn't object to stay.
You really didn't want to go nowhere.
But I didn't know the circumstance.
Okay.
Because once again, I'm thinking,
We're both there from out of town, so I didn't have a place to stay. I was staying with my brother. He was staying with his granny, and we ended up at my best friend's house.
So y'all at the best friend's house.
mhm.
After all that y'all did through the course of the day, y'all catching the vibe, catching the feeling.
I mean, now this part is a movie. If you take from the restaurant to game night,
Rom-com.
that's a movie.
So why would you say it's a movie? Why?
Because it happens on every. I mean, it happens on every movie. And when I say movie, I'm talking about black movies. Like you look at if you look at Photograph,
Yeah.
it was same thing. If
So-
you go back to Love Jones, same thing. That's how it went.
It was organic. It was just
organic.
it was a vibe. It was a flow, and we both just went with it without any expectations. So I think that's why it was like that. I don't think he was like, I know he probably said that to his boy, but I don't think he was like, let me impress her so she wants to marry me.
Right.
And I wasn't like bringing my A game so he would fall in love with me either. I was like, I'm just gonna be me. He was just being him, and yeah.
So this whole night you said it was like a movie.
No, I'm saying the ending.
No, the ending was like a movie. Yeah, I
Yes,
understand.
yes.
So getting to this ending, right? So I gotta ask the question. I keep it real. So at this time, who initiated all this?
I think that was equal.
Yeah.
That was probably equal. Yo, and I mean, you got to think about it. The tension was already there, but it was a tension of just a release of we're both feeling each other. So the aura.
Right, because you've been hanging out all day.
Yeah.
You've been going to the outlet. You've
Got a
been
little
kicking
saucy
it. Y'all
and
went to game
competed,
night.
and yeah.
Drank,
Mhm.
and hey, it just kind of happened.
It was in the room.
Yeah.
It was just in the room.
It was, okay, the aura was in the air,
The
right?
aura was in there.
The drinking and you having a good time, man. And
But I wouldn't blame it on drinking.
no, I didn't say
No.
that.
What I'm saying though, I think had we still not drank, probably by as late as it was, we probably would do the exact same thing anyway.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because the drinking just wound up being a part of it. But had we stayed and continued playing games, the later it got, that just would have been Same situation.
Organic.
Same.
Natural progression.
And what year was this?
2015.
So-
12/28/2015.
Okay, so now my next question is,
When was our daughter born?
No, you said 37 weeks later.
Uh-huh.
So did this happen on this particular night?
Yes.
It's a movie.
So we didn't know. So I go back to Killeen. He goes back to East Texas, and we're now 4 hours away from each other. And I go into the gym, and I'm like, I can't keep up on this elliptical. Like, what is going on? And I go and try to do my lift by set, and I'm like, I couldn't even finish my workout.
Right.
And this is like the first week in January. And so I'm like, there's something wrong. Like, this is off. And so we talk on the phone, and I was like, okay, if something comes of this, like, where are you at about this? Because we're still just met each other.
And you're still in
I'm in
Killeen,
Killeen.
and you're still in East Texas.
Yes.
Okay.
And so he was like, we'll just have to figure out who's going to move where. And I was like, the hell? What? And I remember where I was in my car talking to him, having this conversation. And so that just like dropped my defenses. And I was like, okay, well, whatever happens is going to happen.
Right.
And I mean, we're both mid-30s, almost close. Yeah, mid-30s at the time. And go ahead.
I just think that when I said that, though, it was more so like we got to find the common ground, because either we're going to all be in Killeen, Dallas, East Texas. What are we going to do?
But he wasn't like, oh, no, I ain't ready for that. We ain't doing that. And I didn't know how I felt about being pregnant and having a baby by a man I just met.
Right.
Because there still could be a whole lot of stuff that come out of this brother's closet. Because
Right.
So his response made me feel like there was another piece to the ride puzzle that fit where I needed it to fit. And so
So when you found out that you was pregnant, did you go to the doctor, or you just had that feeling when you was on the elliptical that something wasn't right?
I knew something was off. I waited until I missed my period and took a test. And he was going into a coach's meeting at the time. And I was like, I'll let you know. And I saw the second line pop up, and I just busted out laughing. Like, I could not believe that had happened. And so I called him, or you called me when you got out of your meeting. I was like, yep. And he was like, wow, what? And I said, yep. And I'm laughing. And he's like, okay, well, I'll call you back. So we talked that night. I took other tests the next morning, and it was the same. And we were probably both deer in headlights for a while.
So when she broke the news to you, how did you feel about that? How did that make you feel?
No, I was in shock, because I don't know. Shock is a bad word, but I was in like, oh, here we go. What? And I think what goes through, well, at least when I say this, I can't say for every man, but what goes through a man's psyche is like, man, what? All right, you got to make sure you own everything you own. You got to take care of, get your responsibilities in order so you can be right.
Okay, we got a question. What were some of your? Oh, you got it. What were some of your emotions you felt when you found out you were expecting?
I was number one terrified because, and a little disappointed in myself. I'd have made it 35, 36 years, and all I kept saying was like, I just met him. Like, I just met him. I don't even know him. I got to figure this out. It was scary. I was really nauseous. I have a daughter, so I had morning sickness all day long. And so I physically felt badly, and then spiritually. And I mean, it was a whole lot of struggling with, struggling with thoughts and expectations. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I have to prepare myself to raise a baby by myself.
Right.
And that's not anything that I wanted, but I literally had just met him like the month before. So in my mind, as a woman, taking care of mine, like I owned my own home, I had my car, I had a good job, like I can do this by myself if I have to. And I had to mentally prepare myself for that, because you can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do.
See, I'm glad that you said that, because we had an interesting discussion last night about this, about women having children. And that mindset is, I can do it by myself, right? So at the time, but like somebody said, y'all had great chemistry.
Yeah, we did.
So y'all's chemistry is off the chain, right?
Yeah.
So why would you think that you would have to do it by yourself?
I I like to prepare for the worst.
You never know.
Yeah.
What
I have to prepare for this to happen because it's a whole life at stake. It's not my heart getting broken. It's not me being sad because he leaves. It's I have to have a whole person I'm in charge of. So if he decides to leave, I have to be prepared.
Okay.
Like he's not going to take the baby and leave, and then I can go on with my, you know.
See, and thank you. I'm glad that you said that. We talked about this last night. And another thing I want to ask you is, if that situation would have came up like that, where you would have to raise her by yourself, would that be a burden?
No, I don't. It wouldn't be a burden. It wouldn't be something that I would want for a child to not grow up with their father.
Say that one more time. Say it loud and clear.
It's not something that I would want for my child, for her to grow up without her father.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be a burden. It would be hard because I mean we're together and it's hard. So I can't imagine doing this by myself. He is the most supportive man, father. Like he's got me, and so without him being that man to me, I don't know how my daughter would be right now. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I've got 3 brothers. I've got my mom is really close to me. I've got best friends. I've got a village. If I have to do this, like he was getting his ducks in a row, I had to get mine in a row.
You have to have your plan B.
Yeah.
Yes, it didn't happen.
So at this time, she conveyed to us and the listeners how she was feeling when she found out she was expecting. What was going through your mind? Keep it real. Keep it funky.
It's not scary. It's because I have an older child, and so it was indifferent because I didn't know how the ups and downs were going to be.
Right.
And so I just knew that what I had to do, I just wanted it to be just a little bit different, not pressure anybody. Like she said, you can't force anybody to do anything. So it was going to have to be natural for me to just be who I could be. And I think I was more nervous that because of, I think during that time, you don't know any more about pregnancies as far as with the mother being okay, birth defects and stuff like that. So those are the things that went through my mind, healthy and healthy.
Right.
Okay. That's understandable. And Anna, I just want to, somebody want to shout you out and say, great job, Anna, kid, no burden. Because we had this discussion last night.
Okay.
And also they said hard and difficult, but no burden. Well said.
Yeah.
So I guess she kind of cleared that up. And that's the reason when she mentioned it, that's the reason why I wanted to touch back on it, because we had this discussion last night. But kudos to Anna. People were, giving you a shout out for that.
Hey.
So at this time, she's going through the pregnancy and you're in Killeen, you're in East Texas. How long did it take for you to say, hey, I got to make a move? Or how long did it tell you that you had to make a move?
Well, I think we handled the long distance really well, y'all. It's kind of corny now looking back, but like we would queue up a movie at the same time and press play and be on speakerphone and watch the same movie.
Aww.
And have like movie nights and date nights. And I mean, we talked all day. And
make it work.
Yeah. And so one time he was having dinner with his mom and he said, hold on, and puts his mom on the phone. And I know I'm pregnant. She don't know yet, but he's just told her that I even exist.
Yeah.
And so we were put in a lot of situations, but I mean, we kind of let everybody know in February.
Okay.
So people started finding out in our camp that this was going on. And so it really forced us to see each other for who we were and not do the petty stuff like the Beyonce ringtone. Like I couldn't cut him off. Like I couldn't, like if something bothered me about him, I had to discuss it with him. And
was it right then and there that you had to discuss it, or you wait for it?
I'm a right then and there person. He's let me hear what you got to say. I'll maybe talk to you about it tomorrow once I've processed it.
Yeah.
And so that has taught me to slow down and not always be emotional in the moment. Just because I'm feeling something doesn't mean that we have to attack it and address it now. He takes longer to process things because, like I said, he speaks when it improves the conversation.
Okay.
So we did a lot of intentional communication, like intentional seeing it from your point of view. And if I was bothered by something, I would say, I wasn't really feeling that. And he would be like, oh, wait, what? That's not what I meant, or I'm sorry. And he's quick to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that what I did made you feel that way. And then we had an illness in his family. So I'm sick, someone very close and dear to him. As soon as we had the whole gender reveal, a week after we found out that his grandmother was sick. And so then we got closer there.
It brought y'all's bond together even stronger?
I feel like it did. Getting to see who's important to him and why, and how he relates to the people that love him and that he loves. It was, I don't know if I would have met all of his family that quickly if Granny wasn't sick. Yeah.
Right.
And so I was just welcomed in, and Granny was hard on me, boy. I met Granny before we knew she was
Granny
sick.
gave it to her, huh?
She did.
And so we're sitting across this table, and I'm nauseous, sick, like, geez, I just need to eat.
Through the pregnancy, you was
yes.
Oh, wow.
And so she was like, okay, so were you trying to have a baby? And I said, no, ma'am. She said, well, you weren't trying not to. And I was like, oh, and he's just sitting there looking like, I ain't. And I'm like, you're not gonna help me out. He's like, you on your own.
But so, that should have made you feel good, though. I mean, this is the way I'm saying.
Okay,
this.
tell
because coming into meeting parents, right?
Uh-huh.
And meeting you met his granny, right?
I did.
And like we say, grannies are from the old school. You know what I'm saying? They gonna give it to you cut.
Oh, she don't.
They gonna give it to you real.
Yeah.
They not gonna, like they say, the big mamas, right? They not gonna sugarcoat.
Mm-mm.
So that's why I'm saying you should have felt. I understand it's coming to you
I
derogatory.
did not feel good.
Yeah, you should have felt like, hey, I'm in this thing.
Yeah.
No, because Granny
loved me.
No, Granny didn't act like she loved me.
Yeah, but see, that's the way you interpret it.
You're right.
Right?
Well,
she didn't mean no harm. It's just the way that the old school grannies
They come direct.
They come direct.
And I was sitting at her kitchen table, so she.
You should have felt good because you were sitting at the kitchen table.
Yes. Yes. And I was hungry and nauseous and being charged up. So I don't remember feeling good in that moment.
I understand where you're coming from, but I just felt like in a situation like that, now to look back on it, that you was in
at the moment, it didn't feel
it didn't. That's what I said. It didn't feel like that.
No, and he introduced me to his family quickly. Like whenever he had time off, he would come to Killeen. Okay. And when on the weekends, like every other weekend, we would meet in Dallas, but we'd have to stay with somebody else.
Right.
And so
y'all did that for how long?
18 months.
Okay.
Like
wow.
We didn't until we met y'all.
Yeah.
So Chandler was almost 2. Yeah. And it's so funny because I've got a journal that I write in every day. And I remember saying, we had such a great time. I'm ready. I can't stand my family being apart any longer. Okay. And 5 months later, we moved up here.
And I got a question from you.
Okay.
Somebody asked, said, Anna, what advice would you give a woman who was in your situation, but the man didn't step up like Rod did?
I think that's where having your ducks in a row comes into play. Mm-hmm. You have to know what's best for that child. If this guy isn't trying to be in that child's life, there's nothing you can do. You have to create a life that is as enriching and as fulfilling as possible for that child. Okay. And hopefully, like I said, I had 3 brothers. So whoever she was going to have positive male role models if I didn't have Rod and his uncles and his dad and like all the men in his family, including. But yeah, you have your ducks in a row. You just make sure that you have a plan for how you're going to parent and support your child and trust in that. And I think that's why I was so secure. I wasn't like clinging to him and making sure that he stayed. I wanted to make sure that he stayed because he loved me and he wanted us to be a family. And not because he wasn't going to get to see his kid if he wasn't with me. And we had a lot of those conversations, like, because his first daughter, he is estranged from, was alienated from. And so I was worried that sometimes I was like, you just want to be with me just to make sure that you see your kid? Because family's important to him. And I knew that right on because I got to meet Granny and his auntie who FaceTimed and didn't know I was in the back room and was bringing up some other chick that he dated. And so she did.
So that was my follow-up question. If that situation would have came about, would have kept Rod from seeing his child?
No. Unless he was abusive, I think that's the only reason why I wouldn't allow him in her life. If it was detrimental to her. Okay. Whether or not how much money he made or, whatever, as long as her life wasn't going to be negatively impacted. But I mean, we're parents. We don't always do the right thing for our kids. So no one's gonna be perfect. But yeah, I don't ever see. I never saw like, oh well, I'm just gonna.
Mhm.
You don't need to see her then.
Okay, cool. So then now let's get to the good stuff. Now Chandler is. I'll let y'all say it. Chandler, how old is Chandler now?
She's about to be 4.5.
She's about to be 4.5.
Yeah.
Now y'all been dating for how long?
5 years.
Y'all been dating for 5 years.
4.5 and 9 months.
Now the question is,
Yes, sir.
when is the right time for the marriage?
You know, that's a question. I have some great aunts, and I have my mom that, that question's always thrown out.
They throw it at you.
Oh, they throw it at me. But I take it because when they were, or I say not when they come from, the era they come from, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, first of all, I want to say that I'm lucky or blessed, however you want to look at it, that she is not a woman that's the forefront of her mind. Like, because we've had these conversations before, and I feel like right now that where we're at is marriage is not the forefront of who we are and what defines us. Now, there's other parts of that because you want to do everything that's right through God, and you want to do all that stuff. And when I say that, I'm not brushing it off. I just feel like we have to make sure, when I say make sure, we're making sure that we are, well, at least I am making sure that we are complete together, and we still are a family. But I think you can be we're not married, so I'm not gonna say a couple, but we are a couple that are going through life together. And there are different scenarios where people who never get married. I think our scenario right now is that if she's happy, I know I'm happy, but I need to make sure that everything I'm doing is making her happy. And that is at the forefront of my mind, because there's other situations or other things, not situations, other things that I want to accomplish so that I know without doubt she's happy.
Okay, understandable. But I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit because of the fact now y'all have a child, right? She was living in Killeen, you're living in East Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Now y'all living together,
right?
And how long y'all been living together?
2018. Yeah. So with almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years.
So that conversation had to come up about y'all because you have a daughter now.
Yeah.
The conversation had to come up like, okay, I'm in Killeen, I'm in East Texas. We're moving together.
Right. But see, it wasn't like that. And so what happened, I was living in East Texas, she was living in Killeen. And what really happened was, all right, we need to get closer.
Okay.
Whatever that looks like, we have to find the closer idea and what makes that idea to work for us. Well, like I tell you, or like I've said, things happen for a reason. So my job, I could have stayed, but I also got asked, hey, you want to come and work here? Well, yeah, that's automatically closer. Right. Okay. Now I have to ask Anna, babe, are you sure, before I ask you this, do you want us to be together? Yes. Okay. Well, hey, I'm getting asked for this job down here in Dallas. Would you be opposed to moving to Dallas? Because not every woman is okay with up and moving. Once again, she had her own house. Right. She had a good job. We had everything that we needed. Well, and I say she for sure had everything that we needed as far as own house, money, parents watching our daughter, no daycare, no money. So I got to figure out, is this move going to be the good move? Because now I'm telling her to do something which she's already built her own life. Mm-hmm. So that has to be, that's taking a part of that. And now she uproots. Now that's, what I'm saying, that's difficult. And that's the one thing that I want to say, that I am thankful for, because once again, that she's not pressuring me, or she's not putting it at the forefront, because once again, she said it, we both have our struggles and we're trying to figure it. We're not perfect. So we're going through this day by day and trying to make the best of what we can and not just rush it, because we can go get married tomorrow, but that don't mean she's going to be appreciative to that. That don't mean she's gonna love the fact that we just went down to the courthouse, and then the next day we don't have nothing. We don't have no celebration. We won't do nothing. We just married, and then that's it. Because anybody can go get married, and that's my, I guess, maybe I'm going a little bit lengthy, but
No,
that's
you're good.
that's
Talk
the
about
way
it.
I'm looking at it, because I don't want to just, because okay, now y'all been living together for 2 years. You got the kid. Y'all should. Well, yeah, we're going to, because that's what we want to do. But when we do it, we're going to do it on an agreement with us.
So y'all talked about it.
Yeah, we've been in lengthy conversation.
Since like month 3.
Yeah.
Yes, because everyone's asking us.
Yeah.
Right.
Because everyone wants us to create this perfect family for Chandler.
Yeah.
Right.
And all I kept saying was, I just met him.
Right.
He's never seen me skinny and not throwing up or not being worn out with the back. Like, I really just met him. And I wanted to see him through seasons of life.
Right.
Like, we've gone through deaths, and we've gone through separations, and we've gone through sicknesses and bus crash. Like, we've gone through things. And the person that I say I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, I want to see how they handle themselves through seasons, especially this late in life. Like, we weren't like some 22-year-olds that were, doe-eyed and let's just do this. And so, but I think we're also pretty non-traditional about a lot of things. Like, I see good tax breaks, and I think the government looks at you better when you're married, but I don't see that changing, like, our love for each other and our commitment to each other.
Right.
And so
I don't think it
I understand that, but 5 years. 5 years. I mean, y'all been through a lot in 5 years.
I mean, but Oprah ain't been married, and I mean that's the situation. I'm just saying.
But now we can't bring you. Yeah, But 5 years, just traditionally, that's a long time.
It depends on who you ask.
Well, I mean, y'all have the foundation. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're building it. I really do feel, I like that you use that word, because I do feel like we are building a foundation. And I don't want to be so cerebral about our love for each other, because the passion and the love and the respect and dedication is there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never a girl that was like planning my wedding and had my dress picked out and my fairy tale prince was going to come. I never had that in me. But I can also say that for like 6-7 years, I prayed this man into my life. So there's no sense of, no, I did.
Well,
like I literally would go to bed at night and just pray for for my husband to have had a good day, or that his mom told him that he loved it. Like, I would pray these specific prayers, and God delivered this man that I have prayed up. I've got a list of things.
Well, when I've seen this she says this all the time, but
because it's true.
When she says it, I feel like there's more to that part. Like, it just so happened that he molded this guy, not
God heard my prayers. Don't you speak up? No, he heard my prayers, and it was about you. So he heard my prayers.
She's standing firm on.
I am.
She had a prayer.
And so I'm not in any rut. I'm not in a rush. It's not the finish line for me. Like, a lot of women, and me in particular, when I was single, I felt like getting the guy was the finish line. But it's work, y'all. We still have to work every day, every situation.
It's work now to get to that point, and it's work
after. Yeah,
you're married.
It's not
as well.
The destination. Yeah.
Yes, it gets
so
harder.
I know everybody wants to see it for us, and I love the people that love us, because everybody wants that for us, and we do. We eventually will get married,
right?
But it's not the destination for us. The destination is finding out what really irritates him, or when I just need to be quiet and not push a subject,
Right. I think I believe that I like that. I mean, I like the fact that both of you can realize that it's not like, oh, I done had a baby, you got to put a ring on it immediately. Because a lot of people are like that. They feel like, okay, let's do this. Baby, house, ring, baby, house, or whatever order it may go in. it's not destined that that's gonna go in that order. And if you two are comfortable with the way you are, to heck with what everybody else thinks, because y'all are happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then some people feel like they just want to be lifetime partners.
So Anna, what do
And
you
if it
tell
ain't
the
work-
young listeners out there that's in a similar situation as yourself
What do I tell
about
them?
like, you know, rushing to be married but comfortable with it of your situation?
I'm all about self and personal growth. So I never wanted to be half of a person trying to find a whole man. Like if we were both half people that weren't fully developed, we would have I'm not saying we wouldn't have made it, but it would have been so much harder. And so I think focusing on the things that really matter, like I said, communication, understanding, compassion, nurturing, how he receives love, how I receive love. I think that is where your focus should be. It shouldn't be, and y'all can hate me if you want to, but it shouldn't be a party. Like, and I know weddings are a party, marriage isn't a party, but focusing your whole life on a party is way less productive than focusing your life on becoming the best version of yourself so that you can walk and float into a room on a cloud and attract someone else who's the best version of themselves.
I like it.
You know, somebody said, I love the fact that they're going to get married at their own pace,
Yes.
not what the world want them to do.
Yes.
Because y'all, the world really, I mean, I've sat through many of Thanksgivings with my baby on my hip and auntie saying, when are you going to, you know, make a better life for her? You know, we've heard it from both sides of our family, and luckily we're both hard-headed.
Yeah.
You hard-headed?
I'm soft-headed.
Nah.
I'm even keel, man. I'm even keel.
So are you vulnerable to some of the situations that come arise, that some things that she talks to you about, like when it, I don't know what kind of discussions you'll have about marriage, but do you go into it with an open mind, like you can see where she's coming from and she can see where you're coming from?
Yeah, I think where we're at though right now is just open-minded as a whole. Like we're just right there. Like our aura on that situation is the same because we know and we've seen other couples or we've seen family members that you put so much invested in that, but you're not investing in the love. There's a difference between marriage and love. So that's where we're at.
A lot of people get married and not be in love.
Yes. And we're investing in trying to find that love and really not investing in just trying to find the marriage.
Okay. I certainly understand that. So if y'all never got married, y'all could be satisfied being life partners.
I could you?
Yeah, that would be actually. I think that question really goes to her because I don't know.
That means he's fine with it.
But I don't know if. But see that.
Because it's normally the
woman pressing the man. Yeah.
Right. That's like, okay, you know, or if maybe one of you two had been married previously, then it's not a big rush to get married. Yeah. But that's not the case. So
no previous marriages, right?
No
previous marriages, right?
No,
okay,
not even the proposal, sir.
Okay.
He's serious about it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing is, Rob says what he means and he does exactly what he wants to do. No, you do.
There's when I say this, I think that a marriage, there's benefits from it.
Okay.
You know, and that would be the one thing that if we didn't, we were missing out on benefits through the government, not per se of life.
Right. But there is he asked me probably quarterly. I think he asked me how do you feel about us not being married still? He asked me that probably every 3 or 4 months for the past 5 years. He asks me. And so I appreciate that he wants to know how I truly feel, because I do believe that he wants me to be happy and wants, you know, us to have what he feels like we should. So I do appreciate that. And if I ever got to a point where I'm like, okay, just marry me. I mean, what's the problem? If I felt that way, I don't know if we should be getting married. Right. If I felt like I needed to force him into it. Because of course every girl wants that fairy tale, you know, he just can't live without. But what Rod does on a day-to-day basis shows me that he wants me in his life forever. So, I mean, I know some people may not be in that same frame of mind, but I truly am, because, I mean, we both been through some stuff.
But I mean, that's great. I mean, that y'all comfortable at where y'all at, right? Mm-hmm. And there's no disagreements to that because y'all talk about it often, right? So when the situation does come about, basically the way I'm thinking, you probably know what she's about to say, and she knows what you're about to say.
No, because I don't want to assume anything.
No, I'm talking about in that marriage conversation.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
she just said you check on her.
Yeah, I'm checking because I really want to know. Because I want to gauge where she's at. Because people.
So it's crossing your mind that you know that
it could be an issue.
It could be an issue. Yeah.
Because of the things in which we do and the people who are around. And it's just like that for anything. I mean, you see somebody rolling a new car, you like,
hey, you want a new car?
You want a new car? You know, well,
seriously, anytime someone we know gets engaged, she checks, like, are you good? Like,
because it's happening because we're around a lot more younger people.
Right.
And so I want to make sure, like, you all right? Because in a good way.
I understand it. In a good way.
In a good way.
But why would, like,
because the pressure busts a pipe.
So he want to relieve that valve soon.
No. She's going. No, not the. I don't want to
ride. I think she.
So you're trying to check to see where she is.
You're trying to gauge. You're trying to gauge it. You're trying to get that temperature gauge.
Yes, because I want to know how my house is.
Right, you can't clean that one up.
No, it's not about cleaning because here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right, I'm gonna put it to you this way. If let's just say Kenisha's at the house, right? And y'all friend came over, got a brand new whatever, right? But you know, Kenisha been eyeing that damn car. And she like, this motherfucker. And you like, babe, you good? You know she got that car you want.
She know I ain't gonna say that.
But what I'm saying is when you put yourself in that situation, and different discussions.
I understand.
And so you just checking the post because at night, guess what? She's sitting over there tossing and turning like this.
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't want her unhappy. I don't want her to feel even the zealous, not jealous, but zealous.
So let me ask you this: if she then says, you know what, kind of feeling like,
then where you go from there?
Like feeling like
I'm feeling like I don't want to do it like this anymore. I'm feeling like I'm not okay with not being married.
Okay, well let's talk about it.
What if it switches?
Okay, well let's talk about it.
Okay.
And let me hear how you're feeling about. I want to know how she's feeling about it and why. And then let's make sure that we're doing. And I say doing. We're in the place that we need to be, that we can feel comfortable and not rushed.
Right. Because we've talked about when he's asked me, and I'm like, it's kind of weird, like taking Chandler to doctor's appointments and we don't have the same last name, or coaches' wives are all together and I'm a girlfriend. But that is societal. That's external stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, but we talk about it, and I tell him, those are thoughts that cross my mind, but it's not keeping me up at night. It's not, making me say, oh, he got to propose just so I can be like these other women, or so
So I can well
a certain
set into society or for what they think I should be.
Exactly.
But that pulse check, like he said, the pulse check, right? He's checking your pulse, right? But like Kenisha said, if you fire back at him and say, no, I'm not all right, then where y'all go from there?
Then we're gonna discuss. Like when I've said that about my last name being different from Chandler's because she has his last name.
That's what I was gonna ask you. I was like, what last name does Chandler carry?
She has his last name. Yes,
okay.
She has his last name. And we talked about it, and I was like, that is an external thing. He's like, it is, but I mean, is it sitting well with you? Like, is it making you feel like we need to move forward? And I was like, it really doesn't. We just kind of talked it through. And I've asked him before, like, where are you at with wanting us to be married? And what are your reasons for why we aren't married and things like that? So we communicate. I think we communicate really well.
Okay. That's great. The communication, like they say, is key.
Yeah. And there's goals that we're both trying to achieve. So I don't know if marriage is a goal because we are together. Does that make?
Well, I understand what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense.
It's not a goal.
It's not a goal right now.
There you go.
But listen, now check this out. Y'all have a child involved, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when your child gets old enough, right, and when you said she has her dad's last name, right, and she gets old enough to understand, okay, this is my name, mommy. What's your name? And she's gonna be like, Why is our names different?
Well, so she knows we have different names because she knows her
Okay.
name, and she saw my teacher badge back in the day, and
Mhm.
she's heard me say my first and last name.
Okay.
So she knows my first and last name. And it's probably been the past couple months that she talks about us being married a lot because she
Okay.
watches all the Disney princesses and the True
Yeah.
Love. And so when we kiss, she says, "Oh, you're true loves, and
Uh,
I'm gonna be at your wedding, and you're gonna get me." And she gives him her little play rings to give to me and asks me. Yeah, she gets the fantasy of it.
yeah.
But I think kids are just happy that their parents are happy.
Yeah,
I don't
they're
think.
happy together.
Yeah.
But does that move you that your child acts that way?
I think
It
it's just a development. She's 4. Like,
Hey,
she's
4-year-olds
4.
are intelligent.
She is. She's
Yeah.
pretty intelligent. So it doesn't move me to say, since my 4-year-old feels some type of way, I need to make a
Oh no,
lifelong decision.
not to make a lifelong decision,
Right.
but to see your child interacting like
I
that.
like it. I like
Yeah.
that she sees that we love each other because I do feel like that is affecting her development.
Mhm.
The way Rod treats me is going to it's fully affirming to her,
Yeah,
and
great-
it
great
breeds
upbringing.
security for her. So
Yeah.
Right.
But that's interesting. Like you said with the pulse check, but I'm gonna have to go back because you asked me about Kanisha seeing somebody.
Was it?
I'm not even gonna answer that.
But it's a
What?
no
About
because
the car.
the car.
Oh,
But that was just
Just
an example.
That
I'm
example.
not even like,
of-
babe, how you?
That's-
Yeah.
I know.
Because
It just
there's
wasn't
something.
your-
because
Yeah.
it's external that
Yeah.
you see that you are kind of envious of, or like, why don't I
It's-
have that?
What am I gonna say? Because I don't think. Well, I can't. I think I feel like I know Kanisha and I know Anna, but I wouldn't say it's an envy. It's
Yeah.
more like, okay, because that's something that I kind of wanted at one point. It's not envy because you're happy for the person that has it.
Yeah, I get that.
You're
You
just
kind of
kinda-
see it. It's kind of like your best friend gets married, and all these people are getting married in front of you,
Mhm.
and you're kind of like,
My
It
brother,
just
who's
kinda
10
gets
years
your-
younger than me, got married before me.
But
Yeah.
if that's not where your mindset is, it's not gonna bother you.
Yeah, because that's not what life is. It's
Yeah.
not let me be like somebody else. It's like,
Yeah.
let me be a fully developed person who
Yeah.
loves and cares for other people.
If it happens, it happens, and it's gonna happen organically.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, sir.
Oh,
Your listeners don't want to ask me no question.
I mean,
they
hey,
talking to me,
hey,
babe. They
hey.
talking to me.
I mean, it's
Talk-
okay. I
Hey,
just
y'all,
asked.
Rod needs some questions.
I just
Hey,
asked.
and
I just asked.
hey, y'all out there listening, man, Rod needs some questions.
I just
Post
asked.
some
It's all
questions,
good.
man,
I
Rod.
mean,
He's eager
We
to
got
fire at you guys.
Oh,
So
Rob asked
go
a
ahead and send it.
question.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody has a question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your boy's on. Let's see. Rob, what did you say? He said, this ninja said Oprah.
See, they going back to your Oprah
Let's
statement.
see.
I mean, it's a good statement.
He said,
I mean-
Rob said, I like that. I don't want to be half a person. I'm trying to find a whole woman. I hear you, Sneed. Emphasis definitely needs to be on the love. But,
I mean, that's the key
but
point.
everyone was asking if you were about to propose. And then my cousin,
We get it all
my
the time.
bestie, my lobster said, no, don't
I
nobody
mean,
want to
hey.
be proposed to on a podcast.
It'll be a first. I don't think nobody's got proposed to on the podcast yet.
Hey, we
I'm
going
a
nationwide.
fallout.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think nobody has though.
But
It happened right here on SBD.
yeah. But like I said, you know, Rod want to hear from the fellas, man. I mean, y'all got any questions? See, I think with the fellas, I think the reason why they're not asking questions
Mhm.
because some guys are in that situation where they don't feel like they should be nagged by somebody to get married. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
'Cause it's
but
normally one
now I will
person
say
the
this
other
though,
way.
and I will say this though. If you get nagged, you probably it ain't gonna work.
Mhm.
I say that all the time.
But that's out there.
That's a nag.
You know, women
I
do
know,
that.
and they do, but I really feel like just if that is one of the things that you are not hell bent against, but if you just don't, because really, if she nagging you, you already know that it's probably you like 50-50 already. As the guy, you 50-50 already on the fence anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that discussion, we talk all the time, and that's what the one thing that I cherish about our relationship. We talk all the time,
Right.
and I just feel like there are a lot of things that are missed with couples because nobody wants to communicate. And when I say communicate, I'm talking about talking, even if you don't agree, even if you do agree, just sitting and talking is one of the best things that can happen because then everyone gets, if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But it's one thing that I had heard a long time ago is that I'm not gonna go to bed. I can't go to bed angry. Like I've never. There might have been like twice. I've gone to bed angry at Anna. Like legitimately gone to bed and was like, "This is some bullshit." Honestly.
Okay, I understand that. Since you asked Rod, some people want to give you a shout out. They said Rod is very articulate and explains his position thoroughly.
He does.
Would you accept that?
I'll accept that. Thank you.
Also, Rod, question for you, Rod.
Oh, here we go.
How does the way that you dealt with the impending child compared to last night's episode? I don't know if you watched last night's episode because we was talking about child being a burden on a woman carrying burden.
Last night episode.
We did an episode last
I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Now that's a whole nother podcast for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna try to keep this one short. And I have this is my own personal opinion. And I think a lot of young men need to hear this. When you are dealing with a woman or a young girl, all right, whatever, all right, you have to understand they hold the entire key. You are just at the door. That's all you at. You just at the door. You're hoping to get in. So whatever you do next is important for who you are, and then what will shape your child. Okay. So you can ring that damn doorbell all you want. You have to be able to show up at that door with a purpose and an idea of what you're going to do. Whether you're going to be together or not, you have to have that in your own mindset.
Okay. All right, Rod, I got a question for you.
Give it to me.
Is there anything you know now that would have had a big impact in the beginning of the relationship?
About her or
anything?
Yes, and I said that earlier because had I known anything with my family is a huge part of who I am. And so had I known things in my family, and when I say things, I'm talking about just health with family members, it would have shaped differently. And I don't know we would be where we're at because my focus would have went straight there. And so that would have changed us somewhat.
So the timing was key.
The time was key. Well, but I wouldn't say the time was key. I would say more so that God said, you need to, I'm going to go ahead and let this happen because you're going to go into grown folks business and you don't need to do that. That's not your mother. So you can't put this burden on you. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of one of those things.
We use that word burden. We use that a lot.
And when I say burden, because it's gonna.
He would have taken that on as his crusade to focus on. I think if Chandler wasn't in the picture, he would have completely shifted his focus to his grandmother, who was gravely sick.
Shut you out?
Yeah, I think he would have. I mean, we were 4 hours away from each other. Yeah. We talked, when we could.
And I said easy to do it, but when I say burden. It would have been the easier idea to worry about my family's well-being than it would have been a relationship.
Some new girl he just met. Yeah, right.
Got another question for you, Ryan.
There we go.
Do you feel things will be different when you're married? If so, what do you feel will be different?
Oh, I like that.
I think what will be different is the one way or one thing that would be different is the way that our daughter looks at Anna, her mother, with having the last name. Not in a bad way, not in a good way. It would just be a different look because now she knows without reason, without that they have something that is really together because she already knows that it's separate. So now that she knows that it's the same, it makes that a little bit different.
So that's the only thing that will be different.
I'm saying that's the one thing. The only thing I want to say the only thing. The other thing that would be different is I don't know. She may
tax breaks.
Yeah, I mean government stuff, but I think she would carry herself a little bit different.
Well, why? Okay, hold on. What you mean carry herself a little different?
In the situations where with whom I work with and the people I work with. It would be now.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
But it's
When you
not.
say different, help me. Like different as in like I interact different because I'm a wife versus
No,
because
the way
you're a
they
husband.
see her.
Oh, so they would give her a little bit more respect.
No, they won't give her the same respect because the respect you carry by yourself.
Okay.
It don't matter your name.
Okay.
I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
Okay.
Because you got to put respect on your own name. But I feel like some people, and I'm not saying that all the people that we are involved with see it that way, but I just feel like there are certain people who would see it different, and that's not. I guess it's wrong.
I mean, because not everybody knows us and our connection. So if people hear that I'm his girlfriend, they're like, "Oh, he's not really that serious about her."
Yeah.
You know, but that's their perception because they don't know us.
No, that's
and I give 2 F's about what anybody that doesn't know me, how they see my life.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right.
But I'm glad that you said that because he said just about 45 seconds ago about the people you work with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you elaborate on that?
Well, it's a. I put it to you this way. I mean, it's simple. I mean, we're talking black and white. We live in a black and white world. So the way white people view black people as a whole is already indifferent. Some, not all. So let me make sure I put that out there. But they also then see if you are obviously with a significant other, if they know that you have a daughter, it should be automatic that is the label you should have, as y'all should be married.
All right.
It's a societal expectation, and when we're talking about society in America, we're typically talking about white society. I think it's more accepted in the Black community that we aren't married, but I can't speak on how other people think. And if we get caught up in that, then we're just off on another tangent.
But I will say, I mean, and there are some. Probably there would be some Black people that are kind of like that too. But
yeah, my cousin has a question.
It's no. I guess there's no pull and there's no give. It's just that's just the society we live in, and so that it's just looked at indifferent for some, not all.
But people say marriage changes things, and we've never been married, so we don't know what would change.
Yeah. Right.
No.
Because you have everything that a married couple.
Basically,
would
it
do.
has.
Other than the paper and the
we think we do, but I don't know. There seems to be some magical thing that happens once people get married. Like they stop having sex. They don't like each other no more. They sleeping on different sides of the house. Like I don't.
Well, all those things happen. As a whole.
Can happen with you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's hard to answer that question when. Yeah. But my cousin said. You mentioned wanting to accomplish personal goals before getting married. Why do you think marriage would keep you from those accomplishments?
Ooh.
Well, when I said that, it's not about keeping. I think that goals are all having a standard, better yet, not a goal, because a goal is something that's you can get to it, you can reach it, and then sometimes you can't. So a standard, the idea of a standard. So when I said that, I'm saying you have a standard idea of what you need to be as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I have that same thing, and we have to be able to I want us to be able to reach that and not put a societal goal at the front, because that goal is not our standard.
Yeah, that accomplishment I think is more important than a marriage. And again, like the people that absolutely love us, want us to be married because they know how much we love each other and our kid. And like,
so I hope that's clear now. I hate using that word goal because goals are.
No, I like that.
Well, one of the viewers, Deja Shelton, said, I give her husband great props for stepping up and not running from it when she found out she was pregnant.
Me too. Because I remember sitting in my mama's living room just crying, and I was like, I just met him. I think I said that for probably. I think I still say that.
Yeah.
I just met him. I don't know. I had gone through a very traumatic relationship like 7 years before. So I had baggage that I didn't even know that I had until meeting him. And so I didn't know when the rug was going to be pulled out or the next shoe was going to drop and, things like that. And some of my friends are like, yeah, we've been waiting for that shoe to drop and it just hasn't. Like, Rod is who he says he is. And I think that is what has locked me into this commitment with him, is that he says he is who he says he is. He's where he says he's going to be. He's doing what he says he's going to do. And he loves our daughter. I mean, he is the perfect partner to raise a child with, because again, I am probably a little bit more aggressive, and I want to dot all the I's and cross the T's and make sure everything is the way it needs to be. And I asked him the other day, because he's so supportive. We cloth diapered and I breastfed for 2 years, and I made my own wipes and my own baby. I was pretty granola as a mother. And I was like, why did you just go along with all of that? And he said, because you're pretty intelligent, you do your research, and I know you have our daughter's best interest at heart. So if you say that's what we're going to do, then that's what we're going to do. So I don't know what I would have done if he was like, I'm not changing a cloth diaper. And like, if he was bucking up against that, like, I think that, again, my 6-7 years of prayer about this man, God has formed and shaped him into the man that I needed in my life. So whether or not
you prayed and you got it.
You got it. So, Rod, for all the young listeners that are out there, young men that are in a similar situation you're in, what advice do you give them?
That's a good question. Because every man's situation is different.
I'm saying if they're in a similar situation than you.
They might be in a similar situation, but they may be in a different situation mentally. Okay. They could be in a different situation financially.
And then have a woman praying for 7 years for them.
They could be in a different situation with family. And so I think that every man needs to figure out his own weakness. Figure out your weakness. Even if you're in this situation, when I say in this situation, and so did Ms. Green here said, if you're in this type of situation, you need to make sure that you cover all your strong points. Second, work on your weaknesses. Because your weaknesses will then turn into a strength, and then now you have no more weak. You have nothing but strong points. And if that strong point is not good enough for your partner, then obviously it is not good enough for y'all to be together.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, that pretty much sums it up, and we do appreciate that. So, Hannah, I'm going to ask you the same question. For the young listeners, the young ladies, and people that are in a similar situation as you, what advice, because you've been making some, key points tonight, what are some of the things that you would tell them that if they're in a situation like you? Because we talked about it last night we talked about it on previous podcasts on Marriage Chronicles about, women being that nagging person to that guy. Like, when are you going to put a ring on it? When are you going to do this?
And when I say seen, I'm saying I've heard of
it. Yeah. So what would you tell the young people out there, not just the young people, some of the older people, like Rod said earlier, a lot of people, they've been together for so long and they just haven't tied that knot. Yeah. Like, what advice would you give them to make everything work for you guys to still be together without that marriage title?
Okay, well, I mean, we're in our 40s. And so traditionally, if you looked on paper, a woman that's not been married by 41, that's like, what's wrong with her? Like, what's going on? But stepping back and looking at what you want from life, not looking at the timeline on when you expect it to happen, but what is it that you want? Do you want a man that's honest and kind and committed and thoughtful and open? Or do you want to be married? And just to know what you want, first of all, develop that in yourself. If you want a kind, committed, open, compassionate person, be that. You have to develop yourself, and then decide that you're going to listen to your gut. Like, women, I know it's called women's intuition. I don't know if men have it. But
yes, we do.
I do feel that women were blessed with a certain knowing and a certain discernment. And a lot of us wait to see 5 pages of concrete proof before you make up your mind about something. But we have something in our spirit that says this is not right or this is right. And when you have that, honor it. You don't need proof. You don't need documents and receipts to say, oh, see what you did. Now I'm going to leave. If you're feeling bad, leave. You don't need proof. Find what you want, because you've already established who you are and what you want out of a mate. Write it down, pray on it, manifest it, put your crystals and talk to whoever you talk to about it, and then trust yourself that it's going to come. Women, there's this theory called egg wisdom, that the egg that's within the woman sits there and the sperm comes to her. And the egg has certain chemicals that are wrapped around it that can get rid of bad sperm, and they let the right one in. As a woman, we are supposed to get ourselves ready and prepared and established and let it come to you. You sitting here searching and fighting and forcing and nagging and doing all of that stuff is working against your biology.
Great advice. Great
Now,
advice.
I like the last part she said.
Oh yeah.
I liked everything, but I really like the last part
Mhm.
because what she hit on, and I think I'm not speaking for women. So when I say this, hopefully you don't get no slack from it. But I'm not speaking for women, and I'm not speaking on praying and not praying. What I want to speak on is making sure, and I said it for the men, is making sure you work on yourself.
Mhm.
I said that last night.
Because that's
That's what you
important.
You have to.
You
Yeah.
can't be
Because
too,
you're looking
you
for
can't be
all
a nipple
this
agree.
looking for a
greatness
dime.
I
Yes.
agree with
and greatness, but
I agree
you're
with you.
twerking on the gram.
Yes.
I agree. We talked about it last night.
You
I
know,
mean,
yeah.
we talked about it last night.
Yeah.
You're not looking. You're not getting what you're looking for. You're like, oh, I want this man. I want him
And
to
you're not
make this
working
amount
on
of
you.
money,
Yeah.
and I'm over here like
You
We
struggling,
had this
you
talk.
scraping together
Nah,
your
go back and
dimes.
listen to the
You
podcast
want
we
a
had last night. We
six-figure
talked
earner.
about all
Now,
this.
Yes.
the podcast y'all had last night, which we did not
We
hear,
need to watch.
You need to watch that.
we had a conversation. I'm talking 2 years ago. All right, about the exact same thing that y'all talked about, but we used analogy, and I use this analogy, and probably everything y'all said and everything I just said just then, right there, it brought me back. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Say it, talk.
It's like this. All right, there are a lot of men and women that are out there
Let's talk.
that, when you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Some people see a Corvette, some people see a nice 4-door sedan, some people, they see all types. It's a car.
Mhm.
But you are looking, right? You've been used to dating a certain car, a certain model, right? So I'm gonna use this for example. You're used to having a Toyota RAV4. That's a good looking
Driving
car.
a RAV4.
Driving a RAV4. That's what you are. The person you date, that's what they are,
Right.
and that's okay. They still fine. They fine in you. It's dependable.
Good gas.
Got all the things you want in a car, right? In an SUV at that. That's what you want. But then all of a sudden, you get on the gram, like you say, and you Twitter, whatever, all the dating sites, and you go, man, this time we get a Tahoe. What? Whoa. You getting out of your price range.
Mhm.
Think about that. You done went from a Toyota RAV4 to now a Chevrolet Tahoe. That's out your price range. So now you have to worry about mileage, maintenance, anything small that breaks. You're not used to that because you look like a RAV4 yourself. So
High fashion.
but that's okay. Be who you are. And that's the end goal of what I'm saying with that analogy is that some people you don't need to have the fancy car on the right or left of you. You just need to have the same car, make and model that you used to driving that's going to treat you just like you treat them. Always checking to see if you got gas in your tank. Always checking to see if your oil right. Always checking to see if your oil pressure right. Your tire pressure is good. Making sure your wipers don't skirt when they pull up. That's the person you need to be with, because that other person you can't afford, nor can you keep up with the maintenance. That's all I gotta say.
So basically, you said that to say, is that in the realms of the marriage classification?
No, that's just a marriage about any partner that you want to be with.
Yeah, out there looking for someone.
Yeah.
That's just as a whole.
Who's out of your league or out?
So basically, we kind of covered this on a couple podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, y'all need to go back and listen to last
We
night,
will.
'cause we got it was kind of
Okay.
it was in depth, and that's why y'all heard us using the word burden. a lot,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay. I wish we
And
would've
somebody posed a question to me and Kanisha, is like, how does the way they dealt with the impending child compared to last night's episode? Because the reason why we said that, because we had a question: is there a war between black men and black women?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
You should have
Yes.
been on the podcast last night.
You dang right.
You
But
gotta
you didn't
listen
call
to
me.
Round tables.
But you
Yeah.
didn't call me.
Wow.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, yes.
Man, you got to get into a round.
And you know why though? Why there is that?
What's that?
Is because everybody wants to drive outside their lane.
I'm gonna go back to Reconstruction. Let's take I'm an old history teacher, but when Reconstruction happened, Black women could get jobs as seamstresses and waitresses and wet nurses, and Black men could not get a job. So that's when the war started.
And women, and like, I didn't mean to cut you off.
They brought up that Black women have been carrying burdens for a long time.
And
they feel that they can do it on their own.
But
I
missed that part.
And I think it's fine that women can feel like we can do it on our own.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want your child who was with one person to feel like they had it?
Mm-hmm.
But does any woman want to do it on her own?
Exactly.
No, we don't want that.
Yeah.
We want a partner and a mate and somebody who's going to lift us up and support us. But if we have to, we got to. What other choice?
Well, here's the thing. We were put on this earth to have a partner.
Definitely.
So you can't not have a partner. That's like not having four wheels.
You're
it don't make sense.
So imagine these women raising these children by themselves.
And
There's something missing.
So what do you call that? If they're raising them by themselves, what do you call it?
Well, there's different factors on that.
No, hold up. I'm asking Anna. What do you call it?
A woman raising a child
by herself.
A single mother?
A single mother. And that's all you're going to classify it as, right?
Yes, because there's degrees to it.
You don't classify it as no burden, though, right? That you're carrying a burden.
I don't, because I don't feel that way. But I think there's some women that have children that probably feel burdened and they blame the man.
Say it one more time.
I don't feel this way, but I think there are some women that do feel.
And that's what we were trying to say last night. We're not classifying all women saying that a child is a burden, right? But the definition of burden, they throw that word child
because they were left with that child, they feel like,
and it was something that was created by another person.
Exactly.
And now I think the burden is the bills and the doctor's appointments and staying up late. And it's not the kid; it's the responsibility that comes with it.
A child, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you clarified that. Now, I got a question for you guys, for Rod and Anna.
Mm-hmm.
How much influence did your parents' relationships with each other have on how you approach y'all's relationship?
Well, both of our
we have teen parents.
Well, we have teen parents, but her parents
have what parents?
Teen. Our parents were teens when they had us. Okay.
So our parents were different, and when I say that, her parents were married, my parents were not.
Okay.
So it shaped up. Well, go first.
Okay. My parents' divorce was something that really shook me. It happened when I was 14. And so that's like the coming of age for a girl. And to find out that everything that your parents had taught you was just gone and shattered, that shook me. And it took me to a whole nother level. So I never wanted the rug to be pulled out from under me again like I felt when I was young. So, and my mom always told me, be careful who you marry, be careful who you have kids with, they're going to affect your life forever. So I really took that to heart, and I'm 41 and not married yet. So everyone that's pressuring us to get married has been divorced.
Well, yes and no.
They have.
Not all of them. Not all of them. No, not all of them.
Okay. So
not all of them.
There's maybe one or two marriages that I would say, see, I like what they've got. So I thought I had a strong model for a marriage, and then it all fell apart.
Right.
So I completely wiped that out. So I feel like my parents' divorce and their marriage has shaped my need to be married. I don't need it.
So do you think because your parents were divorced now that you may have just said, well,
what's
since
the point?
Were divorced,
why get married?
Let's just be happy and we don't have to worry about a divorce.
Yes.
Because I brought up that point as well.
Yeah. Because what's the big deal? Why is this such a necessity when, y'all know what the divorce rates are.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to what you said about the burden, with the way you explained it. You don't classify it as a burden. One of our members that was on the round table last night, they was like, thank you, Anna. That's exactly what I said. Sheena said that. So,
all right, Sheena.
Anytime you want to participate in our roundtable discussions, because we had some hot topics.
You just gotta let me know.
Yeah, we didn't know.
You just gotta let us know.
On Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but what was it?
So his parents were never married.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing
to each other.
Yes, they've been married before or after. I'm sorry, not before, but they've been married after. Obviously, as I was born, or I say that's
When you
bad.
were older.
When I was older.
Yeah.
But I know, right? I was trying to get my words right. But their relationship between the two of them was something that I knew I didn't have to worry about. But I think it all depends on the kids because every kid is different. My mindset was not worried about them two. It wasn't worried about. I never truly had to worry about like what I was going to eat, where I was going to live, where we're going to stay, and that shaped who I wanted to be. But it also made me think like I got to go do something else. My mind plan, my mind idea was on something else, and so I was free to do that because I knew that my parents never hated each other or they never just They had their arguments, maybe one or two because of me, but I knew that it wasn't going to be a hate, right? But you have to understand my mom, and then once you meet my mom, you spend a day with my mom, and then you go and meet my dad. Then you understand the difference between the two. But you understand the love between them, even though they have.
It was so mature for them to be in high school, for them to be co-parenting the way that they were.
They've never been together that I know of. Okay, I'll make sure I put that out there. That I know of when, like, after I was born, that I know of. And then I know as an adult, they've never been together. So
it wasn't like a divorce or a breakup that you had to go through because they were never together.
But like, it was never something that I was like, my dad's in this house. What the hell is going on around here?
Do you think that because your parents, and I asked like the same thing I asked Anna, because of that structure, are you kind of following?
No, because
of that.
Because if that is the case, I'm in world trouble because of my dad. Right. And when I say that, because my dad then got married later when I was in middle school, had kids, and then got divorced later, and then got remarried again. So that would put me in a bad situation, just because of timing in life.
Right.
I mean,
all right. Question for Ron and Nana. Let me get back to it. I'm sorry. If y'all didn't have a child, how would y'all's relationship be?
That's tough. It goes back to the same situation. Well, I'm speaking on my end because now it's easier for me to say bye.
And we've had that conversation. Like, if we didn't have Chandler, would we be together? But his grandmother got gravely sick really quickly. Yeah. So I don't think he would be invested in coming to see me 4 hours away when he could stop in 2 hours and go be with his grandmother. And
I don't know if she's going to be willing to come see me. Like,
I'm not driving 4 hours and like.
No, not even the 4. I'm just saying, like, if I'm in Dallas, like, I'm like,
halfway.
What are you doing? Oh, I'm in Dallas. She's obviously going to know why. Well, you want me to come see you? Nah, don't worry about it. Or I really want to come see you. I don't know if that's the way she's going to feel towards me.
And I do feel like God locked that in. He's like, no, this one's for you. Because I'm quick to be like, nope. And I was like, okay, well, this is it. This is what I prayed for. This is who I prayed for. I literally have the list in my Bible at home.
I mean, because she still could have did that even with the situation.
Yes. And so it did put a different spin on it, and it did make us be more mature about our relationship. And I feel like he and I put our relationship before our daughter. I really do feel when he walks in, I stop what I'm doing. We hug and kiss, and we talk about our day, and she fights for our attention, but knowing she's fine with it because she knows we're solid and we're good.
Right.
So I think we work. It's not hard, but we work on our relationship and we work on our parenting and, having a toddler. But having her, living with her by myself for 1.5 years and doing all the parenting things, moving in together, it was like, okay, now I have to consider how he feels about what I'm doing. I didn't have to before.
Right.
And
same here.
Yeah, and fitting him into mine and her routine, because I was breastfeeding. She was sleeping in the bed with me because it was just me and her. And so having to readjust our family, I think it was really important for both of us to make sure that we both knew, like, you're number one. And I know we're not married, and I know the Bible says it's the husband and the wife and then the kid. We're not married, but I do think there's some logic in that because
And I
But
want to
she
go
knows
to this
we're
marriage
okay.
part because it just popped in my head. But, you know, the biggest reasoning why we, and I say we Black Americans, feel that marriage is important is because we couldn't do it.
What do you mean we couldn't do it?
Back
against
in
the law.
it was against the law back in the day.
Okay.
And so we put an onus on making sure because the wife couldn't do a lot of things because of that.
Right.
Okay.
And then once she did, there was accessibility of now she can have the land lot in her name. And then if I die because of whatever may happen, it's in our family. And so we Black Americans put a lot of onuses on it now because of that.
Okay.
But no, you know, there's no bad thing about that. But that's the reason why, and I said earlier that we have older family members that feel that way because of that situation. I mean, that's a big idea, and that's a big.
It's a factor. I think it does influence.
It's just huge. It's huge because it's huge in the Black community. When you really understand that, that breaks down why there's so much pressure with Black people wanting the younger generation and middle generation to get married when they can, because of it's huge.
Okay.
And it's definitely huger depending on where you live or where you're from.
Right. Yeah, well, that kind of summed it all up, man. And like I said, man, y'all did a great job.
All right.
Y'all answered everything, fairly, truthfully.
As best as I could.
But there's one last thing we're gonna have to discuss, and we got to get this out there. I don't know who's watching on your end. I don't know who's watching on your end.
My phone about to die. Oh,
but I need to hear this majestic story one more time.
Lord,
I need to hear
why,
it.
Kareem? Why?
I'm gonna let Kanisha lead this one because it was funny. Hold on. It was funny because one night we was outside. I remember the first day Rod moved in, to his house across the street from us. And it was we all met each other, man. We became cool. And we was outside. I think it was like about 2 o'clock in the morning.
By at least 3.
We stood out there and talked for about 3 hours.
We stood out there and talked. And Rod told us a story, and I'm gonna let Kanisha do the segue into it.
No, that was it. I mean, we were all standing out there, and then Rod started telling us. We were all kind of telling stories, and Rod had this story that stuck with us and our other neighbors across the
Somebody
street.
said, Rod, that's my favorite story.
Lord,
we're gonna let him tell it too. We're gonna let him tell it too.
So
No,
why?
Shannon said
we were
that.
doing so good.
Without further ado,
Without further ado, we're gonna turn this over to Rod.
and you have to
Schneed.
tell it like you
Tell
told
it like you
night.
told us.
Okay, so is there a segue? Because there was a segue. No, there was I say a segue, a prelude to the story. Like we were sitting out there talking about.
We were talking about consuming edibles.
Okay, yes.
Rod, they said stop beating around the bush and tell the story.
All right, so I mean, it was a night. It was one of those nights where, I'm watching football and Anna, she goes, hey, we're gonna go to my mom's and we're gonna be over there for a while. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So we're gonna stay the night. So I was like, all right. And we usually do stay the night. We don't never really go to her mom's house and leave.
We left. We left that.
Yeah, but we did that.
Gotcha.
But I'm saying
Gotcha.
majority of the time we don't. And but anyway, so we were watching football. And this is the reason why we left is because you're still living in Cleveland.
Yeah, I was living there. Yeah.
And so she says, hey, my mom has cooked the brownie cheese because long story short, it was for medicinal reasons.
Chronic pain.
Yes. And so I'm sitting there and, where I'm watching football and you're just having a good time and Chandler's playing around and stuff like that. And so she goes, you want to try one? I was like, I tried them before. This ain't, it ain't no big deal. This is something that I done did before. So I said, Yeah, go ahead, go get him. Give me some, because obviously you want me to try one. So
It's on me.
I mean, she gives me it, and she gives me, I don't know how big it was at the time, about a good portion, I guess. So she gives it to me, I eat it, and I'm like, and I'm watching football, so I'm thinking it's got to slow down at some point. Well, I'm watching football, and I'm like, this shit ain't slowing down. I said, hey, man, and I call Anna sometimes, man. I said, hey, it's with love and endearment.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, go ahead and give me another piece of this, because it ain't hitting. She was like, well, you sure? I was like, yeah. She was like, I was like, hadn't it been about 30 minutes or so? She was like, not really. I was like, I mean, it don't matter. Just give me whatever you're going to give me. So she goes, cuts it, gives me another piece. Well, I'm sitting there, and I eat that, and then so I'm sitting there, I'm just kind of relaxing and watching the game. And the reason why I know that it slowed down, I'm watching Alabama play at the time. And I know without reason doubt it slows down because they don't play slow. The people on their team ain't slow, right? So I was like, oh shit. And I looked to my left. I felt I looked. But my brain said, no, you still looking straight. So by the time that they caught up with each other, I looked, and then I looked to my right, and I'm sitting there, and it just so happened that Anna comes and she taps me on my shoulder. She goes, is it hitting yet? And I felt that I looked and said something at the same time, but I did not. I looked up, but not my body, my head just never followed me. And I was like, oh, no, it's time for us to go. So we pack up, we get everything in the car. Obviously, she's driving, and the way her mom, where she lives, Betty, not way, but where she lives, it's like off deep in like a little creek canyon type area, and so we driving there. They have deer everywhere. Okay, deer everywhere. All right, so I've done seen a deer multiple times, sober and not sober. Okay. So leaving that house. So we are driving. I mean, the roads are just winding. I mean, it's not what I say, they're not really winding. All right.
No,
So
they're winding.
it's just up a hill. I mean, there's one huge wind. All right. There's one huge wind. And so when we leave the house, we go down the hill, we turn right. And then now we're about to get to the big wind. And at that moment, I had already just been looking, just like staring, just looking at the stars, because it's out in the country. I'm just looking at stars and like, and then all of a sudden in my mind said, you're so fiery. And I said, what? I didn't say nothing to Anna yet. I'm like, I'm in a safari.
He grabbed hold of the dad.
There's no way I'm in a safari. I'm like, hell no. And I just started, I mean, it's like all of a sudden the moon got lighter. It just got bright. I was like, what? And I looked to my left. I didn't really see nothing yet. And I looked to my right, and I said, yep, there is a gazelle. That's the first one I saw. And I got to look, and I said, man, they're going, no, no. That's a deer. And the deer, I'm talking about, it looked like it was about 6 foot. I mean, then another one came. They just huge. I'm like, look at all this deer. And then I just looked up, and I was like, there go the moon. And all of a sudden I said, this is majestic. And
so y'all,
it was a majestic night.
That was the first time we heard the story. I swear we died laughing.
The story never gets old, like Shannon said.
It never gets old.
It's not old. Anna might not like it, but this story never gets old, man. This stuff was funny, man. But outside, the way he displayed it to us when he said it was majestic.
You were there. You were just like,
his arms went in that motion. It was majestic.
I'm telling you, the moon, I ain't never seen that bright. I don't know if I've ever seen that bright again. I know I haven't, but
it might have been my brights because it was dark and we were making a curve. So it might have been my bright light.
It really was a safari. in my mind, I went to Africa.
I'm gonna send y'all a picture for reference.
That was one of the
safari.
classic stories. That I think that kind of really opened Rod up after he told that story, because he, it's been many nights that we've been outside that Rod tells stories, but that story right there, that's classic, man. And that's something Rod will always be remembered by me, because he should talk about it all the time. That majestic story.
Y'all cut that out. We gotta give them a new story.
Yeah, so that you can't. I don't think nothing can top that.
Oh, there's been some things that can top it.
I mean, you ain't told us.
Yeah,
I mean,
we gotta have another story night.
We gotta have one of them on the curb nights.
yeah.
And the thing about it is, Rod wouldn't let us go in, man. He had to get that story out.
It was about 3 in the morning.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't want that because I needed
You didn't want
because
that
it
in.
just happened. That's what it was. When I say
happened.
just
It was
happened,
fresh.
that was so many years ago. But it was just, it was just fresh on my mind. I was like, what really happened was we were talking about that as a whole.
Yeah.
That was part of the conversation. So.
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you reliving us on that story, man, and I appreciate your
Somebody
time,
said he was
Rod.
hot too.
Oh yeah, he was
Mhm.
gone.
Yeah, he was gone, but I appreciate your time, Rod, for opening up, telling your love story, and things about what's going on in your life and with your your situation. And I do appreciate you coming on and telling your
Thanks for
side of
having
the story.
us. Yeah.
And really shedding some light on where y'all at and where y'all stand in y'all's relationship.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
We do appreciate that. So without further ado, if there's no more questions, remember, stay tuned. Next Saturday, we're coming back. But we're going to have a roundtable discussion as well. So, this is what we do on the Simply Ball Dropping podcast.
Love it.
So, like I said, Rod, anytime you want to be on a roundtable discussion with the hot topics, man, feel free.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
And,
I'm going to do, what they call it. They call it I'm trying to think of the good word. When you do a plug, shameless plug, go and follow
do your thing.
AG Glasgow Coach.
Hey, Glasgow Coach.
Yeah, go follow that. And
Yes.
if you need any, just look at the Instagram
Put it
page.
this way. I understand that you're trying to throw the plug in. I'm gonna let her put her own plug in.
Oh, okay.
Hey, listen,
Ain't
I
this
like
a-
my man plugging me. Listen.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Somebody said before you get into your plug,
Uh-huh.
we need to have y'all back again.
Oh, we'll be back. Y'all invite us. We'll come anytime. Yes, y'all follow me, A Glasgow Coach, on Instagram. I love talking to badasses on Instagram and just adding value and chatting it up. I'm just all about helping you be the best version of yourself, whatever that is. So.
Yes. She's great, y'all. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
And please, if you have your needs to be fancy and fly,
To be boho and chic.
yes.
No.
Go ahead and plug in, Rod. Go ahead and plug
I
in.
mean,
If
know,
need
it's
to get
that-
you somebody.
Get you some of them, just be a whole as a person. You get you some coaching, then you come by and get
Get
fly.
fly, yeah.
You may what they call that, get your man, because you may have
you
prayed
got-
up.
And then got fly.
Okay then.
Oh,
Okay
one-stop
then.
shop.
But that's all the plugs I got. That's all the plugs
That's all
I
the
got.
plugs you got?
That's all I got. I ain't got nothing.
Well, like I said, man, we do appreciate your time, but for people that probably didn't catch it when they said the A Glasgow, I'm gonna pin it on the screen so y'all can go ahead and get your follow on. But I just went on and pinned it on the screen. So if you'll go ahead and take a look at it, it's on the screen now, so you can follow her.
Well, do more than follow. Answer
It's all
the
the
questions.
support.
Hit
Like,
all the
share,
links,
follow.
share,
Share.
follow. But really, if you know
Friends.
someone
That
after
needs-
you go through the page,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and tell them to hit the line up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it's
Definitely.
we were talking about this the other day. And we about to get off, but mental health, you need to really be thinking about just can you be the best person?
We talked about it last night. Go back and listen to the podcast.
Say, man, but here's the thing. So you keep talking about go back and listen to the podcast.
You must have heard the podcast.
I didn't. And
you
that's
covered everything that we talked about.
And that's the funny thing about it is that just people need to be them. You need to have self-worth. And that takes care of mental health. I'm just trying to talk to you. Now, when I say I'm trying to talk to you, I ain't trying to preach. I'm just trying to talk to you.
Hey, man, you got to break it down the way you can break it. But for the people that, like I said, for Anna Glasgow, coach, the link is pinned on the screen. So you can go ahead, like Rod said, go follow, support, do that. And the crazy thing that you said that about, my man, Dewan Hall.
Hey.
Shout out to Dewan Hall.
Hey,
he's reached out to Anna, and, they had discussions about the life coaching, and,
we did some things.
They did some things. He talks about you all the time.
Nice.
It's Black owned. I'm going to put that out there, too.
Exactly.
Support Black, right?
There you go. That's where it starts at.
Okay.
So, like I said, not only that we do have a podcast. Like I said, I have my own website. I pinned that on the screen as well, Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Also, you can go to www.simplyballdroppingpodcast to get your merchandise. Also, my co-host, riding shotgun, as always. You know what I'm saying? I pinned hers on the screen as well. So you can go to www.bohochictexas.com and, shop with her, support her, and hey, let's support these Black movements. You know what I'm saying? So, but I enjoyed myself tonight, and I appreciate, Rod and Anna coming on, telling their story, which I hope is an eye-opener for a lot of young couples that are in certain situations they're in. Like Anna said, not forcing that word marriage on their significant other. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to make the world a better place.
Yeah. And keep the questions coming.
Yeah.
If you have more questions,
we'll reach out.
I'll answer them.
Yeah.
We'll answer them.
So I do appreciate your time. And that's going to wrap up another episode of Simply Body Dropping Marriage Chronicles. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,